hello everybody. Quiet night so far, but that's okay. Game stream tonight. By the way, code AAFL still good till midnight for 24% off VSO flavors. If anyone's interested in getting some flavors, I should probably put that up on here for people later. I guess that is going to be a weekly thing. Also, while you're here, Dave, I wanted your opinion on this. Did the 5 o'clock stream work well for you tonight?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because regardless of whether or not I work on a Saturday, I can always do a 5 o'clock stream. I'd rather it be more consistent than jumping back between 1 and 5, unless that's necessary. Like if there's some people that can't make it, maybe I'll do like how Nick does the occasional European streams. We
Yeah,
could always do that occasional like that. But I'm thinking that's going to be a regular thing, 5 o'clock p.m. And then apparently the code AAFL will work on Saturdays from 5 p.m. till Eastern Standard Time till midnight. So that's a really good code for everybody to get a little discount. That said, hey Neon, um, we were just talking about the fire situation and stuff, and uh, all the craziness, like Dave was talking about before the last stream. For a few minutes, the beard, aka Bearded Viking, actually was in with me in Zoom for a few minutes because he got the wrong Zoom link sent to him, and yeah, he just went through a lot too. It's just stay safe out there. The world can be dangerous sometimes. As you can hear in the background, I don't know if Dave can hear it or not, but there's the stream is in the background. It's Party Pack 7. Still waiting on a new Party Pack to come out, so hopefully we get some more updated games to play. I may not do the game stream every week from now on. Like I was just telling Dave, if I'm gonna do the regularly, do the mixing stream. But we will occasionally do it if everybody gets together and there's enough chatter on Discord or in Facebook or any of the social medias, and I hear enough chatter back that we really need a game stream. It's kind of getting stressful. Just let me know. We can always do one. It's just a question of without the new games coming out as quickly as we can and having games that can continue with a little bit of lag situation. I just want to try and keep the best content available for everybody. So that said, how are you tonight, Dave?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Doing good. He just showed me his big bottle of Wendy's milkshake,
Oh,
which I
yeah.
find absolutely hilarious. It is a nice versatile mix. I kind of like that the cheesecake mix I made before, but now I'm torn because I'm really liking that new cheesecake on graham. Not by itself, but you add a couple little nuances to it, and it really like adding a little VSO graham cracker to it. Add a little bit of VSO honey to it, and all of a sudden and a little VSO cheesecake to bring out the top layer of the cheesecake, and you get this nice, really heavy graham cracker like crust. Like if you're making it at home, you get the pre-made graham cracker
Hmm.
crust like in a pie, and you put in the no bake. But the no bake's thinner, doesn't fill it all the way, and you get a little extra. That's what it kind of tastes like to me. I like it. And then that tiramisu one tonight. Oh, and yes, Neon, I am using the fruity pebbleized, the fruity pebbles tonight because it's good off the steep. I mean, right off the shake. I don't know what it's going to steep out to. I will let you know by next week, but it's pretty damn good right now. And this was one that can kind of go. I do try and float back and forth between using VSO and not using it because I am on a couple UK shows too, and sometimes they like a little mix that can actually make once in a while.
Yeah,
So
they have trouble getting VSO, right?
yeah, they'd have to pay a lot extra shipping for now. We are working on that. That is a work in transition. Eventually, it will be available in the UK. It's just that I've been trying my best to try and make those connections as well, helping Swaggy to find places for it. And it's happening, but it's not going to happen like overnight.
Yeah.
It's going to take a little time.
Well, for me, getting VSO flavor is very expensive, but you do what you do.
Yeah, because it's shipping up to Canada. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the shipping. Then they charge me brokerage, so it's the exchange on the U.S. dollar. Then it's a brokerage fee. Then it's the shipping. So it works out to probably double, at least doubling the price of every flavor, at least.
You can always outnumber me. I'm basically a Canadian, anyways, according to everybody else. I grew up right near the border. I've had as much Canadian food as I had American food, so It's like when they came up with the sugar pie. It's like, you haven't had sugar pie? I'm thinking everybody's talking. What's sugar pie? It's like, Overdrip and I knew what it was. We'd had it. I grew up on it. It's funny. The only thing, like I said, the biggest strange thing I didn't ever realize was that whole bag milk thing in some places. I didn't realize that was a real thing. I always thought that was a joke. But
I never. I always just bought my milk in cartons because the bags are a pain in the ass. Because if
they can
you
flex, can't they?
oh yeah, they're very thin plastic. So if you screw up, you got all the milk on the floor.
Yeah, and aren't they like 5 liters or something like that? They're good sized bags.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. 3 bags of milk per bag, like per master bag. So I'm not sure what's in there.
But yeah, I'll put the link in chat again in case anyone does want to join. We will be playing probably mostly Quiplash tonight because that actually is the one that's easiest to play, most fun because the questions are different, or at least the answers can always be different. Whereas the other ones, I don't know. It's just like I said, I'm trying to find new games. That's another thing. Always, I actually should put a channel in for game suggestions that work with lag or something. We got to put a thread someplace in the Discord so that we can kind of come up with things. Because I've looked into a couple of them that people have suggested, and it's like with the lag of the server, because sometimes that can be, if I have a storm or something, like tonight we have a little rain, I might have a little more delay than usual. It might be like 35, 40 seconds. If we get that much delay, plus if someone else is in the area, they get more delay, you can't really play many of those games because you need something to the extended timers work.
Right. I mean, I see a big delay between watching the stream on my TV and on my laptop.
Yep.
Yeah. Big delay.
That can happen. Like I got on the phone so I can chat without having to type over the top of all my flavorings that I always have in the way. It's just never ending lately. But I got the new SSAs out because I'm going to single flavor test them all. I don't want to put them away until I get them all in bottles. So, but yeah, what's not a game we can play? Stream Disney budget. Yeah, no, but if we get enough people to want to come on in the stream, and they won't necessarily be on camera, come in with just your screens or whatever into Zoom, we can play more because there's no real big delay, just a couple milliseconds.
Right.
That would be the only way we can play some of the games, but that's not a lot of fun for people who just want to be in the audience, sit out and chat and play. So I trying to make the balance between them. And it's coming springtime. We're not seeing as many people come in late at night to play the games anyway because, now you can actually do things outside. What a miracle, huh? This year's been better, too. Opened up.
So. Well, yeah, when it warms up in Montreal, all the terraces open. Everyone's out on terraces till like 11 at night.
Yep. I don't blame them. Beautiful out there. Today was gorgeous here. I don't know what it was like everywhere else. It's raining now. It's been raining like since about the time the stream started, early my other stream. But during the daytime today, it was so nice and warm. I was outside in a t-shirt, just loving it. I was out on the t-shirt helping my friend while I was working get his bike running again because he didn't put a trickle charger on it like I told him to last year. And guess what? Springtime, having problems with the battery. He just bought last year.
Told him to get problem.
You get a lot more life.
But some bikes you have to be careful because your battery is being ghosted all winter long by, let's say, an alarm system or electronic like electronics on the bike. So the trickle charger won't keep up. So if you have electronics on the bike, you have to pull your battery and then put it on the trickle charger.
Which is why I talking him into Harbor Freight has obviously the cheap trickle chargers. But again, like you said, like the clocks and stuff sometimes work off it and all that kind of thing. So I recommended him instead of getting a $10 cheapo, there's a $25 one that actually can charge your battery as well. If it starts dropping too much, it'll kick in and automatically charge. And it works like a trickle charger, automatically goes to trickle charge. But if it drops below a certain voltage, it'll then charge it like a regular 6 to 12 volt battery.
Right.
So that's the one I recommended for him. It's $26. It's $16 more, but I mean, when you go to buy a battery, their stock replacement battery for that CB1100 2013 is $112. I was able to find one for about $60. That's a replacement, but that was a lot of researching to figure out if it fit. So
you guys have great pricing down there, eh? Motorcycle battery that's cheapest you'll find up here, pushing $200. You know,
Yeah,
so.
that's a lot. That said, yeah, the birds are in the game. Sorry about that, Canadian Vapor. That's the game in the background. I boot it up ahead of time because if I don't, then when I start the stream and go to do it, it'll cause all kinds of lag issues and sometimes intermittent issues for everybody and roboting. So that said, let's go ahead and we will start this and play a little bit of a game. We can chit chat while we play anyway. We always do. All right. Well, here you go, as guys go, and I am going to share the screen with Dave here with sound so he can hear it and see it too. And there we go. And yeah, Party Pack 7. That's the one that can read out. It's the most new one there is, and they do the best updating. Can't guarantee there's updates because there was an update, but it's a minor little one. I don't know if they gave us some more games or not. But here's Quiplash 3 is the easiest. Champed Up is a great game. Devils in Detail is a great game. Again, really hard to play on stream. Otherwise, we would play those because they're a lot of fun. And I gotta move Dave off chat. See? Now Dave's over here on my chat, so I can't see.
No, I'm just waiting for the code.
But again, yeah, anybody wants to come in, obviously that's always an option. And if you don't want to be on screen, that's fine too, because I mean, you'll be right here. I have no idea what just popped up here. Oh, I do. You know that little Windows thing where it wants to tell you all that kinds of information? It's now popped up over my screen. There it goes. Get away from me. I don't want you. I don't want you. It won't go away. There we go. I'll always give a warning before we go back on live, so no one ever has to be on live.
Enter the room
If I
code.
can do it, anyone can do it.
MM.
Just realized she doesn't have two. Here you go.
I didn't want it.
Yeah, there. Had to give her my spare phone so she can actually use it. It is now a brick. I finally shut off the service to it because I haven't used service for it forever.
Oh, that's got to be Lady Liberty, right?
I'm guessing yes. That would be my guess. It's gotta be. She's sending us those messages.
I'm not playing.
And Canadian Vapor, yes, I want to ask you as well while you're here. Does the it's 5 o'clock time zone like tonight for the mixing stream work well for you? 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Put in this room code to play. JAMM.
Okay, because that's the case, I can always make a 5 o'clock stream. The 1 o'clock streams I can only make when I'm not working. So that'll be the time then. From now on, 5 p.m. That way there it doesn't directly affect anybody that I really am aware of and know well.
Quiplash 3.
Just
Dead
Simon's
man's
show
quip, no quips.
when it goes over 2 hours.
Schmitty's my name, and it's spelled nothing like it sounds. If you didn't make it in, get yourself into the audience. Enter the room code and vote, vote, vote. Ready for round 1? I'm going to flash 2 prompts on your device. Type something ingenious that will stand up against another player's response. Then everyone will vote for their fave, and one of you will get an ego boost. Oh yes, points. You score points based on the percentage of voters who like your answers. Clear enough? Sure hope so.
No.
Let's go.
Now explain again. I just want to argue with him tonight. I don't know why. So what are you enjoying tonight, Dave?
Milkshake, strawberry shortcake, and pound cake.
Now, what kind of pound cake you got going on?
I've actually got two. I'm mixing one that the recipe that you put online,
Let's have a look.
Oh, that lemon
and I've
pound
got
cake.
a commercial one.
Prompt number 1 is...
That's always interesting to see how they stand
a
up.
weird thing for a dentist to say while you're in the chair. Okay, make someone happy.
Wow.
Next we have...
that's a dentist I don't
Why
want.
do babies' heads
No.
smell so good? Now it gets real. Pick your favorite.
I'm liking it. Kassa's actually doing a little bit more. You notice they've been more active lately with their shows. They're finally like
Okay, what's next?
staying active on
A
Sundays. So
surprising thing to get trapped in your
Saturdays
Invisalign clear
and Sundays.
tooth aligner.
I don't know.
Here's
I
the
don't
fun
know.
part. Pick your favorite quip.
With what's going on up here, it just seems like no matter what we do, the government doesn't care. They just keep going.
we've been having
mean,
the same
that-
issue.
That excise tax that they're going to put on e-juice is going to destroy.
Okay, let's not dwell on round
But I mean,
one
it's
anymore.
everything.
Let's see your scores.
So I mean, I think this is the nail in the coffin. I think we're going to see all the vape stores shut down.
That's been happening like pretty avidly down
Okay,
here
round
with
two
the
is
whole
knocking on the door. Prompts are a little more challenging,
nicotine
so
situation.
The points are doubled.
There's
I
really
still-
nothing I'm interested in that I can get in Canada anymore.
that sucks. Yeah, I'm going there.
Let me guess, you got the same question I did.
I don't know. Maybe it's a possibility.
And now it begins. First in line, poets be like. Voting time.
That's the one I was talking about. I couldn't help myself.
And now, an original theme for an escape room.
Oh boy.
I don't know.
Time to pick the one you like best.
I don't know. I just want everybody to. I wish they'd just leave us alone. But
I'll never
that
do
didn't-
that.
No. I don't even mind them taking a little bit of extra money. Figure out a way to make it so you can take a little bit of tax. Fine.
This player would win a talent competition.
No, but they hit us in Canada. They hit us with a three-prong approach, right? A nick cap,
And
the
now, pick your
child-proof
favorite.
bullshit, and now the excise tax, which will
Oh, that-
essentially destroy.
That BS they did in Canada with the whole not being able to show a label anymore. It's like, what? You have to.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's
Now
just
that
dumb.
I'm sorry, I forgot about that. You know, they can't. They won't.
You're
not allowed
already
to-
in a. You can't be in there unless you're 18 plus, anyways. So
Exactly.
Why do you have to have not be?
No,
able
but they won't allow a description of flavors.
And now,
or pictures of pictures on the
Yeah.
outside of boxes or anything. It's like,
you've been flipping towards. I'll be sending each of you a prompt that needs
it's all dumb.
3 separate responses. That's triple the ha-has. I see we have an odd number, so
That was crazy, and that happened before we even started dealing with it too much down here. And then now that's going even crazier. And
Yeah. The child-proof thing is a joke, because is a pack of cigarettes child-proof? A bottle of alcohol? And I know we sound like broken records. I picked up this shirt from Son of Liberty. You know, the Bloomberg
let's
mind
go
control shirt.
inside.
yeah,
The 3 best things the internet hath given to us.
oh boy. Eh?
Decisions. Choose your
Oh,
favorite.
just by the best thing, I have to go a certain way. Because that stress one. The stress one's something else.
The 3 worst materials to build your house out of.
I like it. Made it into both answers. Made it into both answers.
I can't believe we made it. Let's see the final scores.
We're gonna need therapy, aren't we?
Probably.
No, we didn't need therapy. Therapy lost. The little shit one.
Fuck you. I went with 3 little pigs.
Sorry, but sewage and semen are worse. I don't want to live in the house. And lava is pretty hot. Yeah, it's I don't know.
You know, at the
Play
end of
levels-
the day, everything that's going on, both our countries and elsewhere, not going to affect us terribly, because we're going to DIY. We've got plenty of equipment. We've got enough and everything else you can get anyways. It's people want to get off smoking or screwed.
Yep. Did you see the thing on Nick's stream? They denied blue, which has been around forever, getting people off smoking.
That was
They
really
didn't-
weird, eh?
But they also approved a more ancient device that is not even as safe, really, if you think about it. By any means.
That was really weird. Like, I was really surprised to see that, because they approved that what's it called? Vuse or something? Vuse.
Yep.
Okay, and that thing's a piece of trash, and it's
That's what I'm
ancient,
saying.
like you say.
That's like a
And,
2012, 2013 device, pretty much.
And I mean, blue is really old too. and it's put out by the tobacco company. So I'm really surprised.
What the only thing different between this blue and the original blues is it's a little flatter, and it has more safety features involved, more cutoffs and
It's
stuff to keep it
You
safer.
know what? It's like they want something to happen so they can say, "Hey, we told you so."
But if you're only going to improve the more dangerous things, the
It's going to
ones that
happen.
the ones that you are going to see, because we've seen like the View style before, where you had the knockoffs in China come in that
Yep.
had the improper batteries and stuff in them, improper builds. We're going to see that happen again. It'll look the same, and they're going to have an explosion. They're going to blame it on the company when it really has
Exactly.
nothing to do with the company. Yeah.
I know.
So do we want to do another one, or we just want to chat? Because I see
But
the.
we can
I
keep
see.
going and chat at
Okay.
the same time.
Okay. I think she's in charge. So.
Well, Dave was in charge.
Because it's sad because all the things like the nicotine replacement therapy at the pharmacies, it doesn't work. Or if
Yep.
it does, it works for a very small percentage of the population.
Yep.
Because it never worked for me, and I tried everything that was out there. Nothing worked.
I agree. I managed to quit, but I was kind of sort of miserable. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, I mean, I did 30 days without a cigarette through, what was it, the laser treatment. And every day I was crazier than the last, to the point where I'd either smoke or I'd be killing people.
Well, I was just stressed out all the time, and I felt once I picked up vaping, the stress reduced greatly. Like I didn't feel stressed all the time. I think it was just the lack of nicotine and a lack of that habit, the combination. I needed it. I tried,
Well, yeah, I mean-
like you said, it was more, I think, the habit than it was the nicotine, because I started out using zeros, and then realized I felt better later. But there's just things about it that just I felt healthier.
Yeah,
I
for
felt
sure,
mo-
100%.
I felt
healthier.
mentally healthier for having something to replace
Well,
that.
howdy do. It's Quiplash 3.
I didn't feel myself
The
fidgeting as
retaking
much
of
like I
round
always
1,
did
2,
for
3.
one.
I'm good at 3
I'm your host,
milligrams. I'm
Smitty,
fine.
and could you please
Yep.
take off your
And I can
shoes
do one and a
just
half.
clean
Like
the
she's
game?
I'm gonna make most of them at 1.5 when I mix them now,
It's the
because
prequel
if she
to
likes
round
it too,
2, round
I
1.
can't vape everything
Points
I
are
make,
scored
because I
based on the
just
percentage of people who
I can
choose
try it,
your
but I can't
response.
continuously vape.
Let's quit.
So I'll probably go down to 1.5 for some things, and if I feel I need a bump, I can always make a 3 here and there.
And most of the times, when I DIY, it comes out to, 2.5 milligrams.
Yeah, like that's the other thing. Have you ever done that? Looked away for a second, oops, pooped too much, or you're getting close and you're like, it's close enough. I don't want to take a chance on going over. I've done that. You can go either way.
Yeah,
And if you compare it to like a 3 that you get at this, I have a theory on that. I think they use a premix when they make a lot of the liquids, that like the pre-mades.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
that dilutes it some, because they're not figuring in the flavorings. Only the premix is a 3 milligram, because they don't all feel like a real 3. They feel a little bit
Time's
weak.
almost up.
Yeah.
The only time you get the ones that feel like they're full shot is like the short fills you get from other areas.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that. That was a heavy
Let's
smoker,
make some noise.
and I can't take high nick. Oh my God, kills me.
And
Yep.
going first is
And
fact about you that would
I don't do
impress a
well with the
4-year-old.
Nick salts either.
Oh no, I can't touch that. My chest just feels like I'm gonna have a heart attack.
Yeah, that were me.
Without further ado, my ladyship, may I introduce the most disgusting knight we have, Sir Blank. Okay, choose your favorite.
Oh,
God, I kind of want to vote for no idea, but that's not the grossest thing, and I just say most disgusting. Oh, I really want to vote for the other one, Paul. You could have put anything. I would have. No worries.
Next, when I die, I want to be surrounded by family.
No worries,
and
Neon. It happens.
Blank. All right.
Okay,
people,
I
it's
like the
voting time.
first one. And that's sad. Because I like the first one, although I wrote the second one.
that's okay.
You know, before Vape Fam, that's what I would have responded
Kids
with
these
100%.
days are skipping first base and going straight to blank. And now it's time to vote for your favorite.
Ugh. I just... Ugh. I can't shut off the advocacy brain lately either. It's been pretty consistent.
Let's see the
Just
next
kind of
one.
getting sick of everything
Something
again.
you'd gladly
But you know what?
pay
It's very easy
$25
to
for.
burn yourself out with that.
I'm pretty good with that though. I'm
Okay,
resilient.
everybody, pick your favorite quip.
Well, you're not getting much for $45.
Depends on the bag.
Ugh.
Can resell and maybe make some money. Oh, Adam. Adam. I see you, buddy.
Round one is done, but not forgotten. Let's check the scoreboard. Round two has arrived. The points are doubled, but so are the expectations.
That was pretty cool.
You lost Adam.
I saw that. He must have left. He's just. I think he's just showing what he's up to. That was pretty cool though. No, Canadian Vapor, that was fine. The other answer was the gross one. Unfortunately, you were the object was to gross us out, but I actually appreciated your answer more.
Just a few seconds left.
And yeah, typing these answers, man, I remember getting used to the whole length of them because you'll type too much and you go, crap, that doesn't fit, and you got to rethink.
All right,
Oh,
we just
to me,
copy
such
and
a pain.
paste that last entry. Your entire lives have led to this moment.
I doubt it. Oh. And it crashed. Streamlabs crashed. Not Streamlabs.
I was winning too.
You were, that's why. Party Pack crashed.
I guess they made
Their server, it's their server crashed. Their server must have crashed. That's my guess.
I guess we're chatting.
Yeah, I guess we'd be
Clotty
chatting.
Cream killed the server.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, we'll just... Nah, it's good. We'll get it going. But no, I did. It crashed. Let me see. Where are we at here? Alright. We're good. I don't know what that was all about, but I think it's because Lady Liberty was winning again. There we go. That actually, yeah. So it crashed it. We crashed it. I blame Lady Liberty. It was her fault. You know what it was? It saw your comment and it got so scared of what kind of mind you're using again for this game. It ran away. We'll do at least one more and then we'll chat a little bit.
Please.
We'll do one more and then we'll chat a little bit because yeah, there's a lot to talk about. And also, I want to focus on some more positives. And judging by who I see in chat tonight, and I hope that's okay with whoever's in chat that might just be here, you know, discuss what we'd like to see more of.
You know, it'd be nice get-togethers.
I was talking about that to Addie today.
Regional get-togethers, because there's quite a few of us in the general area, and we could pick a location, go for like chicken wings or whatever.
Yep. Addie and I were just talking about that today. I mentioned, he said he hopes I get a chance to meet Swaggy someday. I said we should try and get like DIY meetups and stuff going. You know, because
That'd be a lot of fun.
yep, it would be.
This is Quiplash 3, Murder Most Foul. I'm your host, Schmitty, and this is just a temp gig until I realize I was happy here all along. Oh yeah, hey, if you're not playing, you can still get in the audience and vote.
As it's settling down already, sometimes you just let them rest for an hour or so and you can taste them. I might have to turn down that cereal.
You're going to see two
Nope.
prompts
Too
on your
much?
device.
Too pronounced?
Answer each one with a brilliant
It's covering the
response.
fruity
Soon
flavors,
you'll go up
but that
against
might
other
settle
players'
down
answers
too
while
after.
everyone else votes
It
for
might.
their favorite.
It depends on if it's a
Points are
grower or a
awarded based on the
shower.
percentage of people who went for your answer. So make them count.
Wait a week and see what happens.
Exactly. I mean, it's not bad. It's good. It's just got almost like a slight cornflake note to it. See, as I dipped into more different aspects of things on the channel, I'm trying to decide what's needed the most. And that's tough. Because we still always need some advocacy. But we also need the time to not burn out for like the gaming nights and the... between gaming nights and doing like the mental health streams. So it's kind of like trying to balance those. And the DIY thing... that's just a more positive thing. For me, that's my favorite atmosphere. But the others, I think, are important.
For me, DIY and rebuilding is my therapy.
Yep. And then when fall comes, I can change things up a little bit more too, as far as that kind of thing goes. Because when fall comes, I'll be able to upgrade my computer this fall. And then we won't have the lag issues. Like that crash very likely was my computer. It's kind of pushing its limits every now and then. Or it could have been the connection because it is raining outside. Maybe my connection blipped.
The worst words to end a scary story. It's choosing time.
I'm boycotting clotted cream. I'm not alone. Besides, it's a pretty scary way to end a story.
Let's keep it going.
Now touch me.
Best name for a
It's like,
game resort in
okay.
Utopia. Okay, choose your favorite.
Yeah, no worries. This is just a way to blow off some steam. Sometimes it gets super adult and kind of gross.
Moving right along.
But
If she were alive today, Marie Antoinette would probably say, let them eat blank.
Whoa!
And now it's time to vote for your favorite.
well,
Wow!
when in Rome,
I was worried about being too uncouth.
Paul's doing really good this time, by the way.
I see.
Very.
Oh, I'll never forget you, round one. But now it's time to look at the scores.
You know, it'd be a lot of fun, Tim, is a bunch of us to go over to England to one of the
So if round
shows.
one was an
vape
appetizer,
shows.
round two is a
That'd be really
substantial
cool.
meal. Double the points, double the indigestion.
At some point, I would love to go some of the. I just hate that we don't have them here anymore. It's driving me crazy.
No.
Now that I'm willing to go to them, and before I thought it was just too much, you know. And then, turns out once I went to the first DC rally, I realized that was all a mistake. It's not the same. Hanging out with like-minded people feels like a family reunion you're going to that it's people you like in your family, not even the third cousins or siblings you can't stand. Tang, the zero carb water flavoring Tang, the pouches. Oh, so good. Brings me back to my childhood. Don't get me wrong. Even with the tasting a little bit more of the, and maybe it might be one that builds up in the coils, is that cereal taste. It's still got given that texture mouthfeel. Might just turn up the other.
You excited? I'm excited.
I mean, there's still room to turn up that Fruit Loops. Too.
Prompt number one is parents can't
I've seen it
be
used
too
up to
proud when
15%.
their child turns out to be a
Use a
prodigy
single or
of
double
blank.
coil for testing.
I'm using a single coil the barrage with
Okay, make
one of
someone
Dutch's
happy.
coils 0.08s, but it's a single one, so it's not a 0.08. It's actually in this, because it's got wider leads, is actually coming out at a 0.28. It's sandwich that got you, isn't it, Dave?
Yep.
Next
It's sandwich. If it was sandwich, it
your
wouldn't have done it.
geometry teacher's favorite pickup line. Here's the fun part. Pick your favorite
Wow. Okay. Too much of a math nerd to be able to go for one, which sucks because I like it too. Oh, good. It worked out in your favor, Dave. At least you know what geometry is.
At least.
Without further ado, something a teacher trying desperately to be cool would say. All right, choose your favorite.
Okay. That's fair. Those are both pretty good answers.
Goodbye, round two, and hello, scores.
Okay, crash.
And now for Criplash.
Gosh, why is she ahead again?
A final round to end all rounds. I'll be sending each of you a prompt that needs 3 separate responses. That's triple the ha-has. And seeing how we have an odd number game, you'll be going against me. How
Oh, you
about
get to go
that?
against Schmitty. Congratulations. That root beer sipped out nice, by the way. That root beer extra float, the one I used the toffee
yeah?
ice cream in, that's actually quite tasty. Not my favorite root beer, I'll be
Might
honest.
as well get this
It's
over
kind of
with.
like a generic brand root beer. Whereas I like Swaggy's better, and there's what's the other root beer I like?
You've
There's another
checked
one that's really
into a
good.
Really bad rental house. And now pick your favorite.
This is tough. Only because the no roof would really suck. Damn. Although all three of yours were good, Dave. The other one just had that no roof. It's like, what kind of house is this?
Now it gets real. Pick your favorite.
Which one did I vote for? 'Cause, ugh. Ah, crap. That was a random vote, too.
Give me those final scores.
I'm afraid she won. That's it. We quit.
Wow. She
You can't-
blew us away.
Yeah, she did. She did a good job that time. So I know. I agree with you. I agree. She definitely cheated. All right. There. Let's just chat for a little bit about stuff going on instead, because now you guys got me thinking about a few things. One thing, checking to see how everybody's doing. You know, everybody in the different areas. Okay, Vapor, I don't know how, I mean, are you stressing over the same things Dave's stressing over a little bit? Or are you in the same boat too, as well as we talked about with the dealing with, you know, at least as DIYers, we know what we're going to be all right. Thing is, I just don't want to see more people. I've had too many people in my family die from it, so I can't deal with it, and I can't help it. It isn't doing it for me. I feel like it might be the same for everyone else. Oh, that's good. That said, flavors and stuff, flavor profiles. Anybody been shooting for a flavor profile? Because I am going to be looking for something for this week for the plan for next week. Like, I was really thankful Neon brought up the Neon and Jangles brought up the Fruity Pebbles profile. It was a harder profile for me to hit, because that's one that's not been done perfectly right. Still think this needs a little tweak. It'll probably take 3 or 4 renditions, but I think it's closer than I expected for a first try. So, and if anybody's here for not part of this, you can let me know or message me later. It's just that I don't know. I'm feeling that, like, all this Oreo cheesecake. Hey, wait a minute. No, you don't count. Addie. Sorry. Addie Tooney. Yeah, just bring up profiles and stuff right now, Addie. Because of...
I want to go up for something outside my wheelhouse. You know, I'm always about the sweet and stuff like that, but I want to go for something...
I don't count.
Oh, she just yelled at me for telling her something didn't count. Her sure vote didn't count.
I want to go for something outside my wheelhouse. So something not sweet. Like, I was thinking something cucumber. I have cucumber, I have tomatoes, I have chili peppers, I have basil. I have a few other things. So something along those lines, something different.
There's a lot of drinks you can make with that kind of thing. There are a lot of drinks. And it's really...
Bloody Caesar, a Bloody Mary, maybe.
There he is.
There he is.
It's good to see you. Look at this. The Canadians on screen. I love this. I absolutely love this. And I had a Canadian with me earlier, too, on the mixing stream. Overdrip was with me, so that was great.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. He's out in where, Alberta?
He's just north. He's just near. He's near Ontario.
Oh,
Near
right,
Ontario.
Yeah.
right. He's just south of me.
Yeah,
He's just
yeah,
south of me. I think he's in like Vaughan.
yeah. Because that's what you guys were talking about is that whole road trip. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
they
yeah.
Think
that's just interesting because I am on the UK people a lot, and I get their point of views, and there's obviously a lot different than ours because they, it's weird because Canada used to kind of follow some of the UK stance on stuff, and now that they went
Mhm.
independent, it's like, hey, let's see what America's. What are you stupid? You had a decent.
Well, you
Pay
want a
attention here.
secret, Tim? Tim, you want a secret on
But
why Canada is the way it is? Because Canada now is controlled by most of the politicians are from Quebec. The last thing Quebec would ever do is follow anything the UK says. They collectively jump in a river before they'd ever do that, and that's what I think is going on.
Addie might come up with something too, a profile or something, a semi-difficult profile. Like I'm working on Fruity Pebbles. The first rendition's pretty good, and then I got to work. I'm gonna work on it a little bit more. But other than that, I'm kind of curious. I mean, there's a few profiles out there that are really, really hard to hit, and I would like to go after a couple of the semi-harder ones lately. And you know this very well, Canadian Vapor. You've been around for a while in the DIY scene. You've seen some of these profiles that we just can't. And we're getting more
Yeah.
flavors though. We're getting better flavors out. So some of those are
Yep.
possibly doable, and I'm getting better at bending flavors, so I can get away with it a little bit. I'm starting to think differently. Like my mind's starting to do that thing where I used to do for my when I did the designing and R&D for aircraft engine parts
Mhm.
for the airfoils, and my mind started to do that thing where I'm seeing it like it's weird. I see things three dimensionally in my head, like measurements and stuff, and I'm starting to be able to do that with flavors a little bit. Like I'm like thinking across what these two flavors kind of combine. What notes are they really going to accent? So it's kind of making it more fun.
Yeah.
Bacon, bacon, lettuce, and tomato would be a good recipe.
And apparently we got visitor. So
Yeah.
bacon, yeah, no, there's so many savory flavors, especially if you play with Swaggy's flavors.
Yeah,
You can do all kinds
Yeah.
of savory stuff, which is fun once in a while. And sometimes you can get a really nice mix. I'm still waiting for. I mean, Larry made a Bloody Mary one, but there's like it's really she's really attuned to everybody. But there's so many flavors out there that we just haven't touched on. Yeah, Addie's in chat. Yes. Don't. Why are you telling her his name? He's gonna look. She's gonna look for him. She does. She loves Addie. She got spoiled last week with seeing him 4 times. So, but yeah, I got the only. By the way, I am the only owner of a Canadian Jesus actual autograph from Overdrip. So, I win. I actually talked him into actually giving me. I mean, he when he sent out his, I ordered some of his liquids from him, and he sent it down with Canadian Jesus autograph. That was awesome. That I'm gonna frame that thing one day.
Jeez.
But no. So in
that,
Canada, seeing that they're reflecting a lot of U.S. policy, seeing other places doing the same thing, I think it has a lot to do with
Yeah.
the democracy side of things, without having the universal health care. But you guys
well,
do have but you guys do have it. So why
yeah,
are you copying
because
us?
Paul, what do you think
About what?
about what's going on in Canada? Why the
Like
policies are the
why?
way they are?
Why is the question?
I have no idea. I have no idea. I like. So what is this tax that they're talking about?
It's
I,
basically an excise tax that'll be both federal and provincial. So it'll essentially double the price of a bottle of e-juice. And then on top of that, you'll have GST, PST, depending on where you are. You know,
yeah.
Ontario's
Thank
what,
you, Addie.
13% GST? Well, Quebec is the combined PST GST is 15.5. So a
Mhm.
120 ml bottle will be about 67 bucks plus
Mhm.
GST, PST. Now,
Yeah.
for you, me, Tim, and everyone else watching, we're making our own juice. We don't care. Okay, but the people
Yeah.
getting off of cigarettes or the people that are just starting out, it's going to hit them crazy hard.
Yeah. For sure. For sure. I don't. I mean, they just want everybody back to cigarettes.
They do.
Well, it's like
It's
this. If you watch it too, like ours are pushing us towards pod systems on purpose because and Nick salts
Yeah.
because with the way they do it per milliliter of nicotine and all that. Well, if they do that, your pods are much more concentrated. That's going to be your cheaper option. But unfortunately,
Yeah.
that's the one we know the least about long term. Totally not
Mhm.
against it. It's still going to be better than cigarettes, no matter hands down. But is it as safe as a traditional nicotine?
Yeah.
We don't know for
Yeah.
sure. It definitely is absorbed
Yeah.
differently in your body. We don't know long term effects of that for sure.
Yeah. I wasn't on Nick salts for too long. I may have vaped two 30 mil bottles. And that's it. I'm like, this is too much. It was starting to get, you can feel it right away.
Yeah.
And I just stuck with freebase, and that's it.
And Kasa did. Addie was over there today. They believe
Yeah.
moderating the chat for Kasa. They put out some more information today, and I saw him put out some more pictures and posts. So keep an eye on that because that even if you're in Canada, it's a very good chance that that stuff's going to float over. Any policy is brought up, you never know what's going to throw up in your legislation. But
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
I'd like to see us kind of pull ahead, but it's hard because we're media blocked. Mainstream media, we're blocked.
Yeah.
Vape shops in most places can't even say that they're harm reduction alternative by an employee, or they can actually get in trouble. That's
Yeah.
insane.
I haven't been into a vape shop in probably since pre-pandemic. Yeah.
We
I
try to get
know.
in. We try, but we haven't been in a little while.
Yeah, just because I've been doing the DIY, and then I just order online my mods or stuff like that.
Well, you can't. You go into a vape shop, at least in Quebec, you go into the vape shops, there's no rebuildables. There's
Mm-hmm.
no, there's barely, like, they got maybe one or two spools of wire, maybe a couple of packs of cotton, you know, because most rebuildables
That was the
are
last one
illegal.
thing I got. That was the something they had left over from when they opened. I got a Royal Hunter Mini that matched that mod.
Oh,
And I picked that up just for nostalgic purposes, but honestly, they don't have any much new. The newest thing they got that I actually did buy the day it came in was the Purge X when it first got there. Oh, and they got that in right away from Purge. When the reviewers were reviewing, I'd already had mine, which was kind of cool because that hardly ever happens. But
yeah,
I,
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I've been ordering all my stuff either from the United States, Australia, the UK, or directly from China because all that stuff you cannot buy in Canada.
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, I even Dash Vapes hardly has anything in stock. I've been noticing they don't even they're not even like getting new stuff in.
Nothing because it's
yeah,
not legal anymore.
Yeah, nothing. Like it's like it's
they're
dead.
selling their old stock, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Winding down because, especially Dash Vapes, because they've got what, probably 10 stores, I would think, something like that,
Yeah, across Canada. Yeah.
across Canada. So, I mean, they're just winding down. And then a lot of stores are closing. There was a store that just closed, and it looked like I never could order from them because they wouldn't ship to Quebec. But Carac Vape in Ontario, they had really nice selection of mechs, probably the best in the country. They're gone.
Interesting. I've never heard that before.
So, I mean, I've been
Yes.
ordering my mechs from the UK, United States, and Australia, which is insane. I have to order from the other side of the planet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's crazy.
yeah. Do you have that other one, the new one you got, the one with the lady on it?
Yeah, I mean, I ordered those from the UK. So
Yeah.
I've got
The
four
one from Tree of Life. Yep.
Tree of Life box mods, and they're customizable, whatever picture you want to put on them. And I mean, Paul would know what this is. This is from the Vimy Ridge Memorial in France.
Okay, yeah.
And I went there. I went there on the 60th anniversary of D-Day. I went to Normandy to the Juno Beach, and then I went inland to the Vimy Ridge Memorial. And so, anyways, I mean that's another story. But I've been ordering all my stuff from the UK or United States or Australia, and unfortunately, they're hitting me huge brokerage fees, shipping, plus the exchange rate.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It used to be. It's changed now. The last two orders I did from Swaggy, he used to always be like $20 for shipping, and it was awesome. It came. It took a little bit of time, but whatever. I don't care. But now when it gets here, I've got like $33 customs fee attached to the $20.
Last order I did from Swaggy, I used the discount, so it knocked out shipping, but shipping would have been $56. Then they charged me
Yeah.
103 bucks for the brokerage on
Oh,
that
wow.
order. So it's insane. But I mean, look, I look at it this way: even if it doubles the price of the flavors, it's still infinitely cheaper than e-liquid,
Oh,
even at current price. Forget what's
yeah.
going to happen. You know, what worries me, Paul, is will we be able to get nicotine? That's what worries me.
Yeah, well, yeah.
There'll
There's a
always
couple
be
places.
avenues, but the safety of the avenues is what goes down.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
fact that you could get something that's not as pure as what it claims to be.
Well, black market is another thing aside. I won't go that route. I'm not going to go black market and end up like
No,
a Valley or something. But
yeah,
like legitimate sources of nicotine, because there's the nicotine cap in Canada, so you can't get anything more than 20 milligrams. And I mean, I
yeah,
can work with that. That doesn't bother me. But
yeah.
I'm worried that
But it
they'll.
means you need to order more of it, though. That's the
But
sad thing.
I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah.
But what they'll do, what I'm worried is they'll either stop it outright, or a bottle of base 3 milligram base that I'm paying $15 for will be $500. That's what's worrying.
That's what they tried to do here, there with that. Remember that?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my God! If that had passed, done. There's no way you can make a vape product.
And
There's
unlike the
no
United
way.
States, up here, they just pass these laws and you have zero say. Like, that's why I like, God bless Addy. God bless Addy and God bless people like him. But honestly, the vaping advocacy groups up here, they might as well charge at a windmill for all the good they'll do, because they
Yeah.
don't listen. They don't listen. I've had face-to-face discussions with a minister of parliament, a federal minister, and she lied right to my face. So, I mean, if they're going to lie right to my face, they're not going to help us. They don't care.
No, they don't. They don't care. Tim, did you ever get your order from Nom Noms?
I did. I got yesterday when I was just
Okay.
before I went to the hospital, to the doctor's office. Yeah, it
Yeah,
came
I
in
got another
yesterday.
one coming. Yeah, I got another one coming from them. The new flavors.
Yep, that's what I got. Is the new SSAs. The
Did
new,
you get
new-
the flaky pastry?
I
Yeah,
didn't
that's
get that one.
coming now. It's finally in.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think Neon told me that earlier, and, and Discord is like, "Damn it! I just got my order in, and now I need that."
I know.
Tammy
I know.
actually was able to get her sample sent with hers when she got it in. I didn't even think to ask for a sample because that's the only one I was missing. The only one's missing for the up till like now the newest ones are they're releasing the Bull City ones on the Nom Nom site now. Some of the Bull City flavors that came out. But no, I got all the rest of the news SSAs, and there's a lot of them between the Bull City and there. It's like 30 some flavors.
Paul,
And yeah, they're sitting right there.
Paul, would you pay for shipping?
I only, you know what? It was like $5.50 or pounds or whatever it is, which I usually just double it.
You're right.
So it's like $11 or something like that.
Wow, that's
It's
good.
Yeah.
And I don't get there's no customs, no nothing when it shows up. It's awesome.
Because it's
Wow.
flavorings. It's not.
Yeah,
No,
Nom Noms,
no, it's because we have free trade with the UK.
Oh.
probably. It's Nom Noms and Chefs. I've never have a problem with. And Source More, where I order devices.
Source more. Okay, I remember that. I don't really need devices, but you know what? I'd like to get a few more RDAs, RTAs, this and that, and just keep them in the box, just in case.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a lot of stuff, but you never know. Things are wearing out.
Yeah, I want a couple PWMs. I really do because I don't have any of them, and I think that's something I can always repair later if I had to. And it might come down to that when you can't get something in the future. You might have to repair what you have.
Well,
If
that's why I got.
this DNA board goes out in this.
Oh, you're screwed.
It's
That's
nice
why
paperweight.
I've got a bunch of mechs. I've got a bunch of mechs because there's nothing to them, right? So even an idiot like me can repair them if I have to, you know.
Yeah.
But
But
Yeah,
like,
I don't have any mechs.
oh,
but if
that's
you're
the way to go, Paul.
but if you're flavor chasing a mech, that's where the potentiometer is nice because you can still
Yeah.
dial in that flavor. So
Mm.
it's like, yeah, I know. I've been using since I've been DIYing more. I'm using my mechs less because I want to hit that flavor and see if it might be a wattage thing.
Well, the Tree of Life box mods, they're just unregulated. They're not mechanical because there's, as you see, there's all kinds of wires and
Yeah.
stuff in there, you know.
Yeah.
But I got a bunch of tube mechs and such, and a bunch of snowcap mods that are completely hybrid, you know,
Yep.
because they'll never break. And if something happens, you just go to the hardware store, buy a piece of copper, and you can fix it.
Yeah.
So, because all of your regulated devices will break, will die eventually.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yep. Which is, yeah, like I said, as far as for an adjustable, PWM sounds like a smart route to go. If you're in a place that's possibly dangerous.
Are you thinking of like a hexome?
Hexome is, I've been thinking about a Hexome. I think Nazi's still doing his. They're a little bit bulkier. That's what Larry's gotten a couple of with Yoda. The child on, and they're nice. They're kind of like the Tree of Life. They're a little bit more expensive than Tree of Life, I think, but they're the bigger, hunkier ones. But it has a potential. You can get a potentiometer option so that you can actually adjust your wattage. And I don't know. I'm just thinking about getting a couple of them just to make sure, so I have something that can be repaired. I can always change out a potentiometer board. They're always going to be available because they're always needed electronics. So, I mean, you might, the problem is you might have problems getting some of the circuitry as far as like the diode. For diodes and stuff like that. So that seems like the most logical option for if you're worried about, like I said, DNA board goes in this. Am I going to be able to get that DNA board again? Right now, I probably could if I searched around enough. 6 months, a year from now, can I guarantee that? No.
You know, we're probably stocking up on those boards. Jake, what's his last name? Ludholm?
Scrapwood.
Yeah,
Yep.
Scrapwood. He's probably stocking
Ludholm.
up on them. Yeah.
Yeah, he gets a little, I think he buys them in bulk now a little bit, so he gets a discount. Like Addy used to do with the K-Funds, used to buy them in bulk and get discounts on them. Yeah. Sometimes he...
So go on, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, we've all have to become technicians to keep on vaping. How crazy is that?
Yeah.
If it comes down to it, I'll figure out a way, use a lathe, whatever. I'll make my own RDAs if I have to, but I don't want to have to go that route if I can help. I'd rather just pick it up. A lot easier, less work.
Sure, and a lot cheaper too.
And I'm not worried about if I can vape. Like you said, I'm worried about the people that aren't going to be able to transition over.
That's right.
Or will have to go back because they're limited on what they can get. Maybe they don't want to or don't know how to DIY, or I'd say it, but I have some family that I would wonder if they would be safe trying to DIY because they could screw up pretty bad. They're not good at math.
And another thing too is the media has made, like, I know vapors that have gone back to smoking because the media told them how bad vaping was, and they believed everything the media said. You know,
My mother was convinced.
It's like, what do you say? I try everything I can to convince them that what they're hearing on the media is a load of shit.
What was it? November, October when the EVALI started, and that I had my mother convinced. She was getting ready, preparing. I was working on getting her set up to transfer over to vaping for Christmas. That's what she wanted for Christmas. New York State, lives there, started watching the news. She's always been, I can't remember if it's Fox or CNN, whichever one she watched, started doing the whole thing where they're just going off, talking about the EVALI thing. And she's like, no, those things are dangerous. No, that's not what it is. And try to explain it to her. Diehard person, when watching that for like 20, 30 years, believing that that's the true network. It tells you all the truth, like WHO and everything else too. She's following that as well. Why would they lie? They're a World Health Organization. It's like, just to let you know, they're not telling the truth.
Yeah, exactly.
And then that started becoming arguments, and it's like, okay, let's not talk about it for a little while. Yeah,
You know, how many
that's
family members do I have that would be alive had they vaped? You know, it's unbelievable. I would have a mother, I would have a father, I would have uncles, I've had aunts, grandparents. You know, it just, you want to cry, you want to scream, like, what the
uncle.
fuck are you doing? Like, at the government, like, what the fuck are you doing? Especially in this country, we have socialized medicine. If you look at the long game, you'll save money.
Yep.
Don't look at the short game, the tobacco revenues you lose. Look at the long game. And they won't. They will not. It's all about tobacco revenue. It's all about following what the United States does. And no offense to you, Tim, or anybody else in the United States, but fuck the United States. You know, it's not our country. We're not American. Why
And
doesn't our
unfortunately,
government?
our we not us not having universal health care is actually our biggest downfall. I truly believe that we would not be having the same route if we did.
It's,
Um,
that at least is understandable because pay to play, right? Healthcare for a profit. You want sicker people, not healthier people.
yeah, healthy
But
people
up
don't pay money.
here, it's the
Mhm.
opposite. Like we should be promoting vaping over smoking. You know, when government reports, the federal government, the Health Canada reports saying that we know what's going to happen. We're going to drive vapors back to smoking, but so what? They didn't say so what, but their report actually said that. You know,
Yeah.
and fuck, that blew my mind. That just blew my mind.
It does. It's crazy. I even and in the U.S., unfortunately, with the way it's set up, the government saves money if you die by the time you're 65. If you they
Here
work your
too.
whole life,
Here too.
but the whole Social Security thing. I mean, if you don't live to Social Security age, they never pay you a dime of your Social Security. So
Yeah.
they save money for everyone who doesn't make it there. So everything lines up to profit. Work them while they're young, kill them before they get old. You know, that's perfect for the government, which is unfortunate that that's actually the truth of it. I don't, and also you still considered a minority because you smoke because it's not, you know, and vapors are even more of a minority, even though we have a large number compared to the billions that are here. It's
Yeah.
But we're
because
our
we're
own
getting
worst enemy too, because 99% of vapors have nothing to do with advocacy. They have nothing to do with YouTube. They just do their own thing. They don't say anything. They don't participate in anything.
Yeah.
If we had them on board with us, then we'd be a political force for reckoning, right?
99%. That's a way high percentage because you have luck. You're lucky if you get one out of every 10,000, one out of every 20, 40,000,
Probably.
approximately. Like active advocates.
But and
I mean,
we're
we
at
have how we're supposedly have how many in the United States right now? Vapors
7 million or something, 10 million,
7 million,
whatever.
and we're lucky if we got 300-400 actual active advocates, maybe 1,000. You might have 2,000 that'll really 2 to 5,000 that'll actually fill out a call to action
Yeah.
half the time. It's like that's
But
insane.
and we're handcuffed. We can't go out and tell people, "Hey, this is going to save your life." No, we can't. But the people against us can say, "Oh, there's urine in this, there's heroin in this, there's fentanyl in this. It causes lung damage, it causes worms in young people's brains." Really? I mean, come on.
The
I mean,
commercials
really,
show
come
like
on.
the commercials
Yeah.
not only do it in a bad way, but they have like metal dragons coming out of people and going into them and stuff. It's like, what the heck is
The
this commercial?
hyperbole is ridiculous. How did they get away with? How could you honestly get away with that? But you know, it's so blatantly obvious, and they didn't even come up with anything new. I mean, if you
Rotation.
look back in history to the way black people were treated, right? No different than now. Just take out black people, insert vaping. You know, all black people have syphilis. All black people are stupid. They're all criminals. That's fucking bullshit. And this, what we're going through, is the same goddamn thing.
Mallory.
Yeah.
It is. It's sad. And as
It's
much as I
worse than
try to
sad.
get
It's
away from
criminal.
advocacy, we can't get it off our minds.
It's
And
not
that's the
sad.
truth.
It's criminal. It's really criminal. I mean, this is no different than Boeing fucking around with their safety reports and their programming and having hundreds of people dead because their planes crash. There's no different. How much blood on their hands has to take place before they wake up and say, oh, well, maybe we were wrong. And they'll never admit that, ever.
Look at Cuomo. He
No.
did admit it.
Well, yeah, but
He
so what?
admitted
Yeah.
it on live TV and said, "But so what?" And yet we still voted him in another term, and they still supported him, and
Yeah.
people really fall. What? Like, how much more blatant obvious can you get than he admitted it on TV?
Yeah.
And yet nobody noticed that.
Yeah,
My mother
Mallory's
didn't.
right.
My mother didn't even notice that.
I'm just looking at the chat. If a vape shop does say anything, they get fined. But
Fined,
the ant,
and they can also be
yeah,
closed down if there's enough violations.
but the ants can say there's urine in vapes, there's heroin in vapes, there's fentanyl in vapes. It causes worms in your brain, and I could go on, and I'm repeating myself. But how is that
We
allowed
can
to happen?
we can go to the basic thing. We, FDA. We don't know what's in that. Really? We gave you a list of ingredients. You have everything in that in front of you, but you
And
don't
you've
know
been
what's in that.
and they've been using the prime ingredient for years in asthma inhalers. Come on.
Yeah.
If it affects your lungs, you don't give it to an asthmatic.
One of the
Yeah.
prime ingredients used to be pumped through hospital systems to
Yeah.
sanitize the air. You know why it got stopped? Because it wasn't cost effective. That's why. Not because it
Yeah.
didn't work, but because it wasn't cost effective.
Yeah.
Plus it makes a mess.
Yeah, and it was hard to clean. Yeah, she's sleeping. Bunny fell asleep.
Watching the screen, her eyes open.
Is it? Oh, she. I guess she's watching the screen one eye. She feels like she's.
But you know,
sleeping.
anytime you talk to a politician, they accuse you of being hysterical. You know, we're trying to save lives. This is no different than seeing someone in the river drowning. What do? You just let them drown? Or do you do something to save their life? So we're out there every day telling people, don't smoke, vape, which is hard enough, even if without all the media hysteria. It's hard enough to get a smoker to try something because in there, and I was one of them, you, everyone here in the chat was one. You didn't want to hear that how bad smoking was, even though you were choking to death every day. You did not want someone to tell you how bad smoking was, you know? And then we all did like, I have no illusions what's coming for me because look, I smoked 43 years, 2 packs a day. You know, even though I quit smoking 4 years ago, I know what's coming. But between then and the, if it happens, my quality of life will be infinitely better than it would have been if I had continued to smoke.
Yep.
Now,
Mhm.
getting people on board with that, that's what we have to do, and we have to take nicotine and reinvent it as a positive, not a negative. That's nicotine has been demonized for oh god for 30, 40 years now. It was always the evil part of smoking, but it was all the other chemicals in smoking in the cigarette that was
Nicotine.
killing you, not the nicotine.
Nicotine's
Yeah.
no more dangerous than caffeine. Do you see any of these guys giving up? Any of these politicians giving up their energy drinks and coffee? No. Oh, we can't do that. Same thing.
Because
And
it's
and we would like to try and attack that and say that, but no one really wants to do it because we like our nicotine. And I mean, we like our caffeine as much as we like our
yeah,
nicotine. We don't want to get rid of that too because of it.
because
Yeah.
it's trendy, it's
Yep.
acceptable in society, where vaping has been demonized. And I mean, look, if they can get away with strip searching teenagers, fuck me. What else are they gonna do? You know, I already see in the last 5 years, I'm a taxpayer. I should have every right in the world to walk through a park vaping. I can't. It's illegal.
That
And
tasing, the tasing of the
that's
teenagers,
another thing.
that's going too far.
But I
Yeah.
think
That's
that's
crazy.
that's the tip of the iceberg. Wait till I think it's going to go a lot further. I think they're going to outlaw vaping in public. That's what I
Mhm.
think's coming.
Yeah. It's
Politicians,
craziness.
I'm actually have a good track record with talking to politicians and getting some to listen, but there are those ones that just, for some reason, have a chip on their shoulder. Maybe it's they see finances someplace. Maybe they're sucked into the media and they just can't change their mind because they see what's in the media. I don't know, But I have found those ones that are just steadfast and just they won't listen. But there's also some that do listen, but they're the minority, or they're afraid to make waves that are going to affect them with other things. And this isn't a fight they're willing to put their chips in on. And that's unfortunate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. That's just it. I mean, Vermont right now, you can get pulled over by police. They can smell marijuana on you. Nope. Can't search the car. They had a bill in place where they were going to seize your car and you were going to have $100 fine for your first bottle of liquid or device with liquid in it, flavored liquid. And then like $200 for the next one, and like $500 for the third, and then all the way up to jail time on it. It's like up to thousands of dollars in and on top of the fines, and seize your vehicle. They had that on a docket one time when I was going in and defending for the flavor ban. They had that on the docket. The same state that legalized marijuana, that they can't pull you over for the smell of marijuana in your car. But you smell like a strawberry custard. Come with me, sir.
Because again, it's because smoking marijuana or ingesting edibles has become trendy. It's acceptable. Whereas vaping, you're the enemy. You're almost a war criminal. And that's what I worry is they're going to pass laws everywhere like this. These draconian laws where, if you're caught vaping, oh my God, they seize your car, they fine you massively or whatever, And to me, in Canada, it just comes down to one thing. It's all about revenue. They want to protect the tobacco revenue. Like right now, if in some parts of Canada, if you grow weed, you're screwed. You're absolutely screwed.
And I want to be careful on that line too, talking about that too much, because I don't think they should backtrack on the other. We try to get them to focus on the right thing, but they'll focus on the opposite end of that coin and make something else more illegal again versus actually passing something, because that's how they are. Because that affects pharmaceutical revenue. It might give them state revenue now that they're opening up and be more legal places, but they're still losing pharmaceutical revenue, and there's still pharmaceutical sides of it, as well as losses in treatments and everything. Because what's a
every
good,
province is
good
different
pain?
in
What's a
Canada.
good pain treatment, and what works for some helps with some forms of cancer? Marijuana.
Every province is different in Canada, and in Quebec they have an iron fist control on all the vices, right? In Quebec they control gambling, they control the liquor, they control cannabis, they control tobacco. It's all the sin. So if you cross them, they'll stop at nothing to crush you.
Yep. I mean, at what point do we decide, enough is enough, and create our own country somewhere where we can all go? I want it to be tropical, people. If we're going to pick a place,
because
it's warm.
if you even joke about that, they'll, like up here, they'll just pass the War Measures Act and they'll seize everything you've owned. You'll lose your job. They have all the power. That's the problem. They have all the power. Like this, we live in a false democracy. Really, we do. Because, and I don't want to sound like some wingnut, some conspiracy theorist, but honestly, they don't listen. Aren't they supposed to represent us? They don't listen.
There are areas we know that there were third-party votes.
I mean,
no third-party votes happened during the election. Didn't show up on the ballot.
I mean, I
Sorry,
can't comment
that's hard.
on the United States.
That's hard to explain away where you have die-hard third-party people in an area that got 0 third-party votes, and then Biden won an election.
I mean, I can't speak for the United States, but in my country, I just don't know what's going on. I really don't. And a lot of people, the line is blurred between our countries, and they think like they're American, even if they're up here. Okay, but the fact of the matter is, in Canada, we have to do something to change things, period. We can't watch what goes on in the United States and then follow suit. We have to change it up here. Right, Paul?
Yeah.
But
most Canadians are apathetic.
Here Paul is saying he's calm, he's like over drip, he can deal with things. And here Dave's like, you're right. Let me get you going. Yep, I'm gonna get you involved.
But the problem is everybody has to stand up, right? Otherwise nothing changes.
Yep. and we are
nothing's
still
gonna.
and as much as we have numbers in the vast scheme of things, we're still a minority. We got to remember that we're not millions is not a majority. It's a minority, so it's hard.
Yeah.
What I was trying to do before the pandemic was try to link together all the minority groups of different things fighting for rights, for pro-choice things, and this is like anybody who wants choice. It doesn't mean if it's a choice you choose or I choose, but if they want to choose it. And that goes for the anti-vaxxers too. If they choose that, it's their choice. I mean, I get it with when it comes to kids, there's a little fine line. There's a gray area there that would kind of, keeping kids safe in school. I get it. But same time, if it's their personal choice for themselves and they're able to make it, it should be their choice. I mean, they want you to die before you're 65 anyway, so why not let you have the choice to possibly do it? I don't understand. But we need to gather that, and like the NRA and all that. All these things are pro-choice. It doesn't mean you have to agree with the thoughts of everybody, but let them make their own decisions.
Yeah.
The common
I
denominator
was
and all that.
I was
That's
trying
right.
to do that, and then pandemic hit. Everything went out the window, and I haven't
You
been
know, the
able to.
common denominator and all that is you're up against lobby groups, and they're
Yep.
incredibly powerful, and they're interwoven into your government. So, good luck, good luck fighting that. You know, and then that leads to everything going on in the states trickles across the border into Canada, which is
Well,
beyond upsetting.
you see, another problem is Bloomberg has no borders. And
That's right.
Bloomberg is actually as much as we try to think it's all politics, media and him having such control over it is actually our biggest problem. And he's already got control of it. Not only that, but somehow someone supported him in a way, whether intentional or not, to give us a gag order so we can't fight against him. Yeah, he can say anything he wants in his media against us.
Yeah,
And
I
that
agree.
puts us at not just a disadvantage, we literally have our legs cut off from underneath us. And that's actually what convinces a lot of our politicians is watching the media. What do we do? How do we fix that?
Yeah.
If we can come up with that answer, we have a better chance. But I haven't been able to come up with one. I haven't heard anyone else come up with one either, and it's difficult. Because even if we have money to throw at it, we could have Bloomberg money. We'd still be at a disadvantage because he's already got ties to the media. He already owns a lot of it. How do we go up against that? We already had the gag order against us.
Yeah.
Even if we had the money to put it out there, we're not legally allowed to put it out there. So what do? Cigarettes did this for a while too. Remember when they started banning all the ads and stuff on TV for a long time?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the smoking rates have dropped, so now they need a new enemy. So
Yeah, exactly.
we're it.
Well, they have no reason for the anti-organizations to exist if they don't have an enemy.
Yeah.
If they cure, they stop the cause of the cancer. What do they need the cancer research for? What do they need the doctors for to deal with it and treat it? If there's not much of it around. But on an advantage side is, here's the sad part, it is true. Because it exists, treatment options can get better. But if it goes away and you have no specialists there, see, that's what we got to figure. If we could figure out a way to keep those specialists employed, it would be beneficial. Because then if someone does have the issue, they can deal with it. But how do we keep them employed when there's not as much of them to do for them to do? It's all just, it is chasing the money more than it is anything else. And then you have one person in there with a personal agenda to try and create a legacy that has all the money, has a majority of the media in his favor. How do we fight that? This is our best tool right here. We're doing it right now, YouTube, and even they try to fight us every now and then. Where
That's
do we
the
go?
next thing.
Nope.
Elon Musk just bought or is buying Twitter. What's next? If someone like Elon Musk or Bloomberg gets a hold of YouTube, you can kiss all vaping channels goodbye. And we can still communicate. That won't be a problem, but it won't be easy.
You can communicate, but you won't be able to get your information out there. Right now, we talk about the Wild West being over as far as vape stuff. We still kind of got a Wild West for mixing right now. That's still pretty open. If you get the wrong person in charge of YouTube or Twitter or any of the other streaming services, we might lose that option.
Mm-hmm.
Then everything's done where there's no shows to watch, there's no information out there. So if someone is losing their chance, they go back to smoking because they don't have this option because they don't know about it because they can't learn.
Yeah, they shut down the liquid, the mixing sites, and that's it. No more recipes.
Yeah, well, shutting down the mixing sites would be harder because those are owned orgs. You'd still be able to look at recipes, but if you're starting out, YouTube helps a lot with that. You learn how to mix, you figure out how to mix, you kind of learn for a while, you keep your notes, and you start to pick it up before you even start is the best way to do it. If you don't have that option, how do we teach someone to mix unless they have a direct link to someone who mixes? Or we have some kind, and they can search out videos, but that's a lot of work. And the more work you add to something, the less likely it's going to succeed.
I mean, I was lucky. I mean, I stumbled across vaping sites on YouTube immediately when I quit, and I learned everything I know about vaping, how to build, how to make wire, how to mix, everything came from YouTube. So I mean, thank God for YouTube.
Mallory, listen to paid podcasts with Lemmy and ER2. Last paid podcast is less than 15 minutes. I found I was allergic to bullshit. I know. Pave's another one, but who's the number one supporter of Pave financially?
Bloomberg.
Whether directly or indirectly, it's Bloomberg money.
That lady that's in charge, what's her name? Meredith something.
That nutcase.
That lady makes me fucking crazy. I've never heard a more abrasive, screaming shrew in all my life. How the hell do people listen to her?
She is the definition of Karen. There's
one
one female politician there too. What is her name? I think isn't she like third in line for the presidency too? If
Pelosi?
Yeah. That woman, she's a nutcase.
They're all the same. Marjorie Green. What a nutbag that one is.
I mean, not even talking about not listening to the facts. I mean, coming out with the most bizarre responses and just basically doing the whole Cuomo thing. Whatever. It's like, how can you answer like that as a politician and still be considered a good politician?
They're all the same. I can't even remember. There's some woman in the Conservative Party up here is the same way. I hear her. It's like nails on a chalkboard. And I mean, look, I don't vote party. I vote policy. So if I see a party has a good policy for whatever the case may be, I vote for them. I don't care if they're conservative, liberal, NDP. I won't go as far as the Green Party because they got like one candidate in the whole country. But, I go that direction. But these people, these politicians, I don't know what's going on.
It's like, I don't like him, really like the guy that much. But I was thinking about it, and then it came up. Any of you guys watch Chris Webby at all? His music videos? Probably not your style, but honestly, just listen to the words in some of his raw thoughts videos. He went on about the Ted Cruz thing, and I was already thinking. I mean, this came out of. I was thinking these things. I saw the video for the first time, and it was like, he hit Ted Cruz. Not the most likable person you can think of, but he's for personal rights and the First Amendment rights.
Yeah, because that benefits him. The guy's an opportunistic tool.
He is, but he's an opportunistic tool that has some things that actually align. Now, the First Amendment rights, if they were properly followed, we wouldn't have gag orders against us right now. We shouldn't be able to have, as long as the antis are allowed to speak. That's part of the First Amendment rights.
Yeah,
why is that?
He's only pro First Amendment rights because it's benefiting him. The moment he gets whatever he wants, your needs and considerations are out the window. I can assure you of that. Look at during that ice storm in Texas. People were suffering like unbelievable. This fucker is on a fucking plane to Mexico. That tells you all you need to know about him.
For us, it was good. That's what I was saying. But then I saw what he did to Texas Mama and all them, and the way that they were all treated down there. That whole ice storm, he was headed there, and then he did this whole fake like parking lot enclosed little thing with the whole he's meeting everybody for, the relief and COVID and all that. It wasn't even like it was closed off. It was made to look like it was all wide open, like this public forum. It was no public forum.
Exactly. I mean,
So that's what I'm saying. This whole First Amendment rights. If he was actually what he says, be great. Unfortunately, this is where we run into a problem. The masses watch the media. They see that. There's points that are good and bad on everybody, but they always push them. That's where Trump was a wild card, and that's why I think they want him out so bad, because he really did whatever he felt was right. Now, did he act like a 12-year-old prepubescent boy when he did it? Yes, he did. That was embarrassing. But he
when
did
it
what he
comes to
thought was
Trump,
right.
though, people don't realize, again, Trump was out for himself. He didn't give a shit about you. He didn't give a shit about anything as long as it benefited him. He was facing default on a fuck ton of bank loans. He wanted to get out from under that. That's all it was. And I mean, we need politicians that are fucking for the people,
We need
not for
politicians
themselves.
that how to get them in there is the problem.
It's impossible.
Preferably
That's the
someone
problem.
who's a businessman, preferably someone who isn't a career politician. Who do we even have running that follows those guidelines? Other than sometimes like third party, but some of the third parties are a little radical. So even that, you'll follow them and you think, oh, this sounds really good. And then all of a sudden they'll give a speech on something. You'll go like, huh? And unfortunately, I've seen that with ones I really like and were really looking good. And then I watch them give a speech on a certain subject, and I'll be like, okay, that. I guess I'm a little conservative with that thought process because that's a little out there.
But too
And
many people are willing to overlook their beliefs for one core that they happen to agree with that politician. Everything else is a nightmare, but they'll go along with it just because of that. But then it turns out that they have no interest in helping you. That's a big problem. And in my country, honestly, to become a politician here, to get to the top, it's almost nearly impossible. You know, I don't know.
yep,
Paul, jump in anytime.
I have no idea.
Mallory's got a good point. Trump actually that gave us a tool though. Trump gave a shit about his Twitter and followers. He really did. That really mattered to him. It bothered him more that I think than money.
Because
That's
but
where
Mallory
we
hit on
had.
it.
That's where we actually had the most power because we actually could sway Twitter really well. We did it, and that's where it gave us the most power. Without that, I mean, seriously, with Biden's, let's say, mental faculty issues, we'll call it that. What are we supposed to do to convince this guy to help us? Like, really? Anybody got any
look,
ideas? Anybody got an idea?
No.
no offense against anybody from the states, but I don't believe that either Trump or Biden give a shit about anything but whatever their agendas happen to be.
I don't even think
I
Biden
think
gives a
that
shit about his own agenda. I think it's whatever his wife tells him to do.
maybe, who knows? But I don't know. We keep talking around the same thing, but I mean, we have to figure out a way and fast to get some traction.
I've been
That's what
racking
we
my
have to do.
brain for a while. This is why these advocacy sessions keep popping up when they're not supposed to be advocacy sessions. Been trying to figure it out, but coming up with the answers, I keep drawing blanks. I'll start going down a path and go, this could work, and then I'll always hit this one point. It was like, no, there's no way that's gonna work, and that's what's going on every time. And like even when you talked about the money, I started chasing that thought process. If we got the money to do it, we talked about this, Dave, about getting the funding. Even if you had the funding with a gag order, you're still cut off more
I know.
than they are.
But we need like loud voices. And I've said this before, and you've brought up the fact that they're bound by contracts. But we need very popular people like Hollywood stars or something at that level, to come out and say, you know what, vaping saved my life.
But
You know,
there's the problem.
I
Most
know
of them
they're
have
gag
contracts.
orders
They have gag orders in
know.
their contracts.
because that's what we need. We need a positive spin. We don't need the child rapist to be a vapor in movies. We need the hero to be a vapor in movies. We need vapor. We need someone that everyone looks up to, and then vaping becomes, less a demonized thing and become more of a positive, and then that gains its own traction,
What
its
we
own
need is
momentum.
some really good UK films to come out with this, because that's where we're going to get this content.
But
This
everyone's
we need
yes,
something
you're
like
right.
the
You're right.
Monty Python's Holy Grail. We need something of that caliber that'll
Yes.
spread
Yeah.
and become a major thing with vaping in it. Yes.
Yes, you're right. You're right because it's not going to come from Canada. It's not going to come from the United States. It has. You're right. It has to come from the UK, and it has to be something so big that the ants can't stop it. Like I'm just throwing this out here, but the British invasion where the Beatles came over and everyone lost their minds.
Yep.
Something along those lines. And I don't even know if that's possible today, but something along those lines that you know.
Mallory, I agree with you, sort of, and I sort of don't. This is kind of those fine lines. I'd rather we just didn't have either one of them in office. I think they were very poor choices. We needed a good third party candidate, and people had to actually stick behind them. Now, I was watching some of the higher end third party candidates thinking, okay, and then I saw some of the things they came out with, and that's why they didn't even get. That's another reason why they didn't get elected, or even really up there, is because they made at the end these really ridiculously outlandish speeches to get the radicals on board, but they were so radical in their thought process that the ones they had following were like, okay, that's a little crazy, and
That's the problem. All these groups that are out there that can maybe make a difference are being co-opted by radical groups. Like we had the Freedom Convoy in Canada, right? They were co-opted by anarchists, by white supremacists, by God knows who, and funded by right-wing nut jobs in the United States. And they were the Canadian participants in this were so brainwashed. The dumbasses actually stood in Canadian court screaming about their First Amendment rights. The judge looked at them like they were fucking idiots. Do you even know what country you're in, you moron? That's the like I was saying. I mean, these groups are being co-opted. They can't be co-opted. They have to stay pure to the cause. Do I sound like a wingnut? I don't know. Probably.
you sound like someone who cares about vaping, and that's actually, unfortunately, that makes us kind of wingnuts.
Well, I
But
care because I know what it did for me.
yep,
Look, I mean, I was like 1 foot in the grave. I mean, I probably have early onset COPD, but it pretty much stopped. Pretty much. Okay, it would not. If I had kept smoking, fuck me. You know, I like I was right at the precipice that if I kept smoking, I'd be on oxygen. And now I'll never be what I was prior to smoking, but I'm a good way back
we
to feeling healthy.
it's like the conspiracy theories, Mallory. You just went with a little bit of it. Some of them, I mean, we want to think like there's no way that our country could have been involved with the Ivali, especially as quickly as it accelerated, and they happen to have planned for it ahead of time almost. And then we think back, how was it, like 30, 40 years ago, Paraquat with the marijuana? We were involved. They admitted it. They found out, but nothing was ever done to anyone involved with that, knowing that they cause illness and even deaths in the U.S. because of it.
Plenty of examples of that, though, Tim. Look in the
So,
1950s,
so is it crazy? Is it conspiracy?
but in the 1950s, they were spraying DDT on kids playing in schoolyards.
Yep.
You know, I mean, there's thousands of examples of that. Some of it was done out of misinformation. Some of it was done because they didn't realize there was no long-term studies, all that. But I mean, these cannabis cartridges that were contaminated with vitamin E acetate, that was a bunch of fucking scumbag criminals trying to stretch out the cannabis oil as much as they could, and you know, selling millions of them. And because they really don't at the time, people don't even know what they're looking at, so they couldn't stop it.
But
That's what I
if you
think.
watch some of how quick the responses were and the way they responded, did they know right from the beginning? If you really look back at it now, look back at the timeline on it, it's almost like they knew about it.
Look, if you could prove without a
You
shadow
can't prove
of
it.
a
You can't
doubt,
prove it. That's just it. You can't
no.
prove it.
But
It
if
might
you
come
could,
out
you'd,
30 years from now and it wouldn't make a difference anyway because no one will even get prosecuted.
yeah,
So.
you'd blow the lid off of the government if you could prove that it was a government-run conspiracy, whatever, blah 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 blah.
They'll never
You
let
know?
it out until statute of limitations is gone. That's what happened last time.
Well, look, there's still with anything to do with the Kennedy assassination, still got a lid on it until I don't know, 2050 or something.
If ever. Yeah. I don't know. It's just, but focusing more on what we can do. I mean, like I said, if you're a member of CASA, be more proactive. Use your contact information for your legislation. Won't be a call to action, so you actually have to write it. Copy and also copy and paste your story, and maybe a few other stories of people you know and what they went through, and maybe family members or friends, and what they've went through and what their health conditions were before, what they are now, and let your politicians know these things and send them periodically throughout the different stories. Send them through, and that's a way to kind of at least let them know there are people out there. Give them real stories. Don't just make a bunch of them up, so that they can actually feel what it actually feels like to be in our shoes a little bit. When they're not on a line waiting for a deadline on some bill that they're just kind of being pushed to pass. Or like an omnibus bill. Maybe they'll have a second thought if they actually know something before they go in, instead of ignoring the fact it's even in there because they don't give a shit. And having like, 2-3, even if you had 2-3 million emails, would any of them gotten read in 3 days? We had 3 freaking days. That's it.
I had a talk with some of the folks from the Rights for Vapors up here, and vape stores, manufacturers, and related in the industry cannot say that vaping is a way to get off smoking. It's illegal. But I can say it, and you can say it,
Yep.
and Paul can say it.
That's why I go into the shop, and a lot of times I'll sit at on the counter, and sometimes even visit with the guys behind the counter because we're kind of like a family there. I can help people build their atomizers. I can talk to them because I don't actually work there. I can explain things. They can't. They do. They can get fined and eventually.
And that's what we have to do as private citizens that have nothing to do with the industry. We can say it. And that's why I think we should focus more on that than sending the government, the politicians, testimonials that they were not even going to give a shit about.
Some of them do. Some do.
Some very few. I would say that.
I would say one out of every
1,000.
I'd say one out of every 50 have responded and I've had good conversations with. But that's still pretty low because you consider there's still 49% majority out of that 50. Literally 98% total majority is going to just never even care about what I sent them. So when it comes to voting time, you got one person or two people voting for you and, 98 voting against you.
I mean, up here, I've sent messages to the provincial health minister, the federal health minister, the prime minister, Health Canada. I don't even get a response, not even a form letter. So that tells me all I need to know.
Tells you that's not the revenue. Maybe at that point, if you have access to like when they have hearings, I've went to my share of them, and there's a few of them I am proud to say that I actually know that I made a difference at.
Well, I'll tell you a story.
It's not an easy thing, and I will tell you, you want to talk stress level beyond belief, it will be.
The Tobacco Harm Reduction Symposium that was held recently in Ottawa, a pro-vaping doctor, his invitation was rescinded because he was pro-vaping. His name, Mark Turner, I forget his name, but his invitation was rescinded because he was pro-vaping. So if they're going to rescind a doctor's invitation, what chance do I have?
I had one Hail Mary chance on that first time going. It was freakish, weird, and it worked out. They're having a flavor hearing in that New Hampshire one. And literally, because I had an M-Turk bottle that had all the warnings and stuff on it, because they wanted to see, because they got brought up about the warnings, and we don't know what one looks like. I got one right here. And I held it up, and I handed them over to them, let them look at it and everything. And because of that, even though I wasn't signed up, because it was one of those ones where you had to sign up ahead of time to speak, they let me speak. I went with the vape shop. They drove me over there. The employees from the vape shop were freaking out. No, 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 don't do that, because they were nervous about me saying something wrong. And then I talked to them. Started off with, did you? It was a flavor ban. Did the when person took their first drag of a cigarette, did they continue doing it because they like to taste the ash in their mouth, or because they got addicted to the components in the cigarette? And then a couple of the senators laughed, and from there on out, they were listening, paying attention. The Juul rep turned pale as a ghost, which was awesome because he was doing that whole, oh, we've already we're changing it over, so it's only going to be tobacco. It's like,
But you know what? You essentially won the vaping lottery
I did on that one,
because
and I did it in Vermont too. I managed to stop that one and got it lumped in with tobacco, and tobacco helped us throw that
you
away.
wouldn't even get in the door in Ottawa. I can assure you of that. If, like I said, a doctor was banned because he was pro vaping at a tobacco harm reduction symposium. So, well, where do you go from there? Where do you go? You know, you go to an MP's office, they're going to nod, shake their head, and escort you out as fast as they
I
can.
tell you right now, if it became a bigger lobby than the state lobbies for a hearing like that, if anybody from the anti side of those bills went in there and talked to them, they probably would do the same thing they did with that doctor. I probably wouldn't be allowed in the place. If it was an invitation situation, I wouldn't be invited. I know I wouldn't be. That's a problem. That's where numbers matter. We need more people that they don't know that can actually speak well and can go with the room. If the room
That's the thing.
doesn't respond to what you're doing, change gears. Don't just go with your pre-recorded speech, because if they're not listening to it, they've already shut down. You got to draw them back in.
We
Not
need an
easy to do.
Amanda Wheeler up in Canada. That's who we need. We need someone that speaks eloquently, that gets their point across, that disarms them. Because let's face it, Amanda Wheeler is a good looking lady. Right away, that's a leg up she has because she'll disarm them. And then through her intelligence, she'll win the day. We need people like that up here in Canada. We don't have enough of that. Put it this way. I don't want to be a negative against anybody in Canada fighting for vaping, but it just seems like we're getting zero traction because the provinces one by one have in some way banned vaping. The federal government is poised to basically put the nail in the coffin of vaping. That excise tax will destroy vaping in Canada. I'm already seeing like the vape stores that used to be very strong with rebuildables and this and that. They're looking more like head shops than they are vape shops.
We're seeing it
And
down here. Slowly, the
and
states are
yeah,
transitioning the wrong way. We got a few holdouts, thank God. As long as we have holdouts, we got a little hope. But at the same time, when you're pushing things like, now the synthetic nicotine and all that, you're closing down the avenues of getting the nicotine. And that's the issue. That's our biggest downfall. And that actually essentially makes DIY difficult as well. If you can't get nicotine, how do you make a nicotine vape?
I mean, someone's gonna.
That's like the nail in the coffin right there. If they can shut down and control nicotine point where only very few really, how do I put it, resourceful people can get it, then essentially they pretty much killed the industry as far as the industry goes.
And God forbid someone on the black market sees an opportunity to make money, and now we have a holy volley thing all over again.
Are you kidding me? Do you have any idea? Because I don't know why, but a lot of these Chinese companies think I'm a vape shop or something. I don't know. I get offers every day, hundreds of offers for like massive orders of like disposables and stuff that we can't get
Yeah.
legally, but yet they're still willing to sell them. And are they black market? Yes. Would they be safe? I can't guarantee that. If they turned out that they were all dangerous and could kill someone, what am I going to do? Turn them in? I mean, that's the craziness of it. Now it becomes, we thought it was a Wild West before, but now we're at the Wild West where we have like actual outlaws running it.
Yeah.
That are dangerous.
And what could happen too is, and what I see happening is, after the excise tax in Canada is passed, they're going to pass a nicotine control law, and that's when they're going to shut the doors on DIY, because they'll pass some crazy shit like what's in Australia, that if you get caught with nicotine and you don't have, in Australia you need a prescription, but here it's say it's completely banned. They catch you and now it's like a $500,000 fine, 10 years in jail, whatever, you know. Who's going to risk that?
That's the other thing. When they keep on throwing jail time and tasing people for vaping. I mean, this is getting crazy.
Not getting.
It's
It is
the
crazy.
it's the equivalent of the nicotine in that vape is the equivalent of you drinking coffee. It is.
Yeah, I know.
It is exactly that much danger. You drinking coffee. Actually, coffee has more chemicals in it, if we want to be honest.
But here we
But
go. I mean,
but yet, so essentially, it's not actually what's happening, but this is like the equivalent of, oh, you're drinking a coffee in a public park. I'm going to tase you for it. It's
Yeah.
the same idea, except for they visually see what looks to them like smoke, so they
Yeah.
instantly think
Yeah.
it's smoke. It's not.
is it any different from during the 1950s when they were desegregating schools, and the cops would hit black people with batons? Well, they're not hitting vapors with batons; they're tasering us. It's a modern day baton, you know. And I mean, maybe private citizens have to like have, I don't know, under the table funding to put out ads that show something like that. Would you accept this show like some film from the 50s where black people are being abused, and then flash forward to kids being tasered in schoolyards or skate parks or whatever, or strip searched? Fuck, can you imagine if that was your daughter? I don't have kids, but if you had a daughter and they strip searched her for vaping, I'd be in there so fast with a bat. I don't care what the cops did. I honestly wouldn't care what the cops did. I wouldn't care, because you're strip searching my child for vaping. Do you strip search for alcohol, drugs, or tobacco? Fuck no. But you're going to strip search for vaping stuff. I mean, that's ridiculous. And that's what they're doing. And they're getting away with it because it's trendy. And no one is going to be pro vaping. No one's going to stand up and say, you've crossed the line. That's what, that's how I feel.
It's always for the kids too. Okay, so adults don't matter, and
Yeah.
kids making a smarter choice than picking up smoking. Sorry, still harm reduction. Lowest rates in years, and the ones that are coming in, they're picking the less harmful alternative, and we're gonna punish all the adults for them choosing the less harmful alternative. That
Yeah.
there's no logic to their side. We know this, but yet they're winning because of the fact we can't
You can't stop it.
legally really put on any real ads for it. Even as private citizens, we can't legally do any.
Yes, we can. Yes,
major
we
ads.
can. The laws don't apply to a private citizen, that we can easily say, hey, vaping saves lives. Vaping is a great way to quit smoking. We can say that legally.
We
They
can
can't
say
stop
it, but we
us.
can't put it in the media, not mainstream media. That's the problem.
We don't have
There's
to
where
go mainstream media. We can
it
go
would help.
in,
It would help though if we could.
for sure. But I mean, let's face it, the kids don't look at CNN or Fox or whoever. They're looking at Twitter. They're looking at whatever, TikTok or whatever. Blanket those platforms with pro vaping messages.
You mean
I
like
don't
Grim
know.
Green having anti-vape ads on his vlog, which has happened multiple times?
Yeah, but the problem is,
The-
the one problem, and it's great. Don't get me wrong, but who's looking at that? Confirmed vapors. We all we're talking and
Yep.
we're talking,
We're
preaching
talking
to the
in that
choir.
vacuum. That vacuum.
Exactly.
Same
Exactly.
problem I had with Vaping Insider Group. We had 12,000 people, and people would sit there and act like they're doing advocacy because they're talking to group. It's like you're talking to people that agree with you. Get out
Exactly.
there and talk to people that don't know.
Exactly. You know, it's what the ants do the same thing. They all get together and they talk about this, they talk about that, and we're doing the same thing. Someone has to come up with a creative
The difference
solution,
is the difference of the ants is they get the publicity in the media.
and they can
There's where
lie
they
and
go
they
in.
can make false claims, yada yada yada. So I mean, I've said it before, but I mean, no one will ever go
Uh,
along with what
And
I say.
if we make false claims back, they will just actually have real fire to fire back at us
Yeah, but
instead of
if a
just
vape
false.
store or someone in the industry makes that claim, yes, but a private citizen could do whatever the fuck they want. They just need the money to do it. And I've always said that, the one place you got to hit the government is taxation, right? There's nothing they hate worse than losing tax money. 7 million vapors said, "Fuck you, we're not paying any more taxes." Maybe they changed their tune.
More likely they just arrested 7 million people.
Probably.
That's just the way they work.
Yeah, I know. And you're right. That's exactly what they would do. They did it to the Freedom Convoy.
Yep.
They passed a new form of the War Measures Act. They seized all their bank accounts. They they completely fucking blew them away. And don't get me wrong, I think most of them deserved what they got because they weren't protesting, they were verging on the verge of being terrorists. They were, terrorizing people in Ottawa. They were, it was horrible for the people of Ottawa. I don't know, Tim. I don't know.
Like I said, this is what we need to do. We need to keep brainstorming until someone finally something clicks to somebody. Even if it's on a replay, put it in the comments. Something clicks. You have an idea, even if it's a little farther out there. Maybe we can refine that idea in a workable situation. We need to come up with something more than what we're doing because we are slowly backtracking and we're relying on the UK doing something so undeniably out there. They've already done enough to the point where we should be listening, but obviously not. Like you said, if we had like a movie like really mainstream like Monty Python come through that's pro vaping, I hate to say it, but it's got to be something legendary like that's going to do it, and that would help.
I agree with you, Tim, but the problem, what I see happening, and maybe call me paranoid, but I think Bloomberg is going to fucking pour the money into anti-vaping in the UK. I mean, he's going to do everything. I know he's tried. I know he's tried, but I think he's really gonna do something because the whole world looks to the UK as that shining light on the hill. Okay, he's gonna want to put that light out. I can guarantee you, he's gonna do.
The good news is, thus far, they told him basically to fuck himself. That's what we need more of. And nobody else is doing it. Everybody else, like me, seeing entire countries just roll
India
over and
banned
say,
vaping, didn't touch tobacco. They banned vaping 100%. Didn't touch tobacco.
I wonder why. They only have a 40-some% smoking rate in India?
Exactly. And you're talking 1.7 billion people.
Yeah.
So 40% of that is like this insane number of smokers. 10 times the population of Canada.
We don't want what's happening in the U.S. and them losing money and losing smokers. No, we can't do that because we lose money. Yeah, it's just... Sorry about this, Paul. I know it's kind of like a lot, but it's just...
Yeah.
Even though some of Dave's theories are a little bit radical, I mean, somewhere in there might be this little something we can work on. Because it's hard.
We need
to think outside our own...
Shame people into coming over to our side. Show them, people being abused in the 50s for no other reason than the color of their skin. I think that would be shocking enough if you equate that with what's going on to the vaping world. Something like that. Where we would just shame people into it. Or, and this is my personal favorite, is to go after all those ants. Dig up every scrap of dirt on those people, and just rake them over the coals. Like this Meredith, whatever her name is. Find out she's, I don't know what she does, kills puppies or something. Something just to just go on a
honestly
blanket.
I think she's just a bored person that started something because she didn't have anything better to do, and she became the biggest
100%.
in the world.
But you know what? Those holier than thou people always have a skeleton in their closet, without fail. You drag those skeletons out for everybody to see, and that'll shut their mouths.
Every time she speaks is the skeleton. You can't
Yeah.
tell when she talks if she's just a neurotic fool. I mean, it's obvious if you have just the inkling of being able to read a person. You can see it when she
Yeah,
speaks.
for
Uh,
sure. But
Addie's saying 18% of the Indian government owns 18% of the tobacco industry. And that's probably right, especially considering how many in country, I mean, in the area that they have. Like, you figure if they have 40 some percent of their own, that's actually a big chunk of it already.
Joycey.
You got a puppy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's running
Mine's sitting
around
there staring
somewhere.
at me. Mine are sitting there staring at me. Bunny's sleeping in my arms. Cat's over there staring at me. So, I got eyes on me all the time. But no, we got to figure out something. It's not an easy thing to do. And you're right, Dave. We've been trying to look for this solution, and we still got to keep looking harder. We got to think outside the box a little more, not keep following. Biggest thing, stop following their trends. You know what really got us in this nicotine problem with them fighting nicotine? We gave into it when we started fighting it. That's what made it look legit.
yeah, because everyone thought it would stop there. But
Yeah.
does it ever stop there?
But they just kept doing the same cycle. They're gonna throw. They're like throwing, darts at a dartboard. They're like, oh, Evali. Oh, we make diacetyl popcorn lung. Oh, we're gonna go to this wet lung. And now we're gonna go. Oh, now we're back to nicotine being bad. And they just kept throwing those darts, waiting for one to stick enough in the media, so they could go after it. And they found the one they really wanted to do was nicotine, because nicotine essentially is like the key. If they can kill that, we're screwed. So, essentially, we gave them what they wanted by fighting it. We shouldn't have fought that. I tried saying that back before. If you look back at the old videos, I tried to stop people from going that route. But then again, it's hard not to fight back when they're fighting at you. But that's something we should never. We should have ignored it. We should have completely ignored that whole thing and never got involved in that nicotine thing. As soon as the evidence,
it's hindsight is always 2020, right?
well, the thing was, they're talking about the dangers of nicotine. It's simple as this: there's nicotine in cigarettes, there's nicotine in vape. That's not what's killing you. Therefore, it's a harm reduction thing. That's all we should have ever fought. Is just said it was harm reduction and left the rest alone. Because as soon as we started fighting actually against the nicotine thing, we gave in to them. We made ourselves their true enemy at that point, instead of just they're trying to make us their enemy. That was a mistake. But unfortunately, that ship sailed, so now we got to figure out a way around it.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can't change what's already happened.
Yep.
You have to go forward. So, I mean, I think honestly, the vaping advocacy focus globally, wherever there happens to be an issue, has to change your strategy. Get away from fighting by their rules.
Proactive
We have
will help,
to,
but
look what happened during the Vietnam War. The United States military didn't lose the war to a bunch of pajama-clad, tennis shoe-running soldiers. They lost a PR war, and that was brought home because of all the protesters in the United States. So something along those lines has to take place. Not 100 vapors come to Washington and blah blah blah. It has to be something unique that hits all the ants where they live, including the politicians. That has to happen. And if that happens in the United States and is successful, then me as a Canadian, I will reap the rewards. I'm selfish. I'll be the first one to admit it. But unfortunately, that's the game that's being played. Is our government is not making any decisions. They're following in one shape or another what's going on in the United States. It's trendy to be anti-vaping, so Canada's anti-vaping. It's trendy to go after nicotine. Canada's going after nicotine. They've seen all these governments in the United States, the state governments, levy huge taxes on nicotine. Oh, guess what's happening? They're doing the same thing.
I still say that the most powerful thing we could possibly do as a vaping group, get over your differences. Stop worrying about differences with other people's opinions and start to gather up all the places and all the different people that know this government overreach in different areas and gather these people up and support what they are as well. give them their choice. Doesn't mean you have to choose what they choose, but make it their choice to choose. Gather up all these groups and get together. That's when you're going to have enough numbers to actually make a difference. Until we do something like that, we are still the minority. Don't think 7 million is enough to be a majority. It's
Not
not.
in the country of 350 million.
Yeah.
But whatever happens has to stay true to the cause. It can't be if it gets co-opted by some special interest group, whether they're legit or not, it's all over.
No,
Because
it
that's
has to
what
be someone who actually cares about personal choice, your own
Yeah.
personal choices instead of having government control. We don't
Right.
need a government nanny. That's the key.
and you can't
No.
have
If you
some other.
I mean, you can have it so the state levels, okay. In some areas, it might be a little more conservative on something. Maybe they do need state laws there because it'll make the whole community there better, feel better. There might be areas where there's virtually no vapors anyway, maybe because of all this happening, they just don't have anybody. They want to keep laws there at the state level. That's one thing. But we can't have federal government deeming this and then the states following suit because it shouldn't be in their hands. What difference does it make to them? It should never be a federal cause.
No, but you know what they'll
Remember,
do?
they called this whole pandemic, they called Evalia a pandemic. How many people were affected? 1,000 total?
But that's hyperbole. That's just using hyperbole clickbait. It's media clickbait.
That was never a pandemic, not even by any
course not.
definition of the term.
Of course not. But here's the thing. If you say it shouldn't never be federal, what the federal government will just punt it to the states, like what they're doing up here. The federal government will just punt it to the provinces with their blessing to be draconian. And then they'll all...
But your chances at state level of convincing someone because you can make it to the hearings, you can be a voice, is better than federal. It's not perfect, but you have a better chance than federal. Federal will do something like the omnibus bill, and your government doesn't work much different, where you never get any say. Nothing. They don't even know you said anything. They don't care. Whereas at state, you have a chance. You might be able to get to it. And local. The more local you get, the better your chances. It's not the perfect plan, but it's a better plan than what we got right now. Our federal government is actually causing us more problems than even our state. And state government, like that whole ban for the first one I told you about with New Hampshire, that was because of 9/11, because of that whole like flavor ban thing they were going to go through. They were trying to proactively create a law that was going to be retroactive to the law that they thought was going to pass in federal. It makes no sense, does it? They were going to set their law ahead of time before the federal law was actually in existence, which got backpedaled and never actually happened.
I'm confused. You mentioned 9/11, like as the terrorist attack, 9/11?
No, 9/11 as in when Trump spoke up against vaping.
Oh, okay.
Because that was the same time. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know he did on the same day.
Yeah.
Okay, but
so when he spoke, no, sorry about that. When he spoke up against vaping, New Hampshire instantly went into crisis mode and tried to create a law and pass it before the federal law was even passed, which the federal law never was passed. So they would have had a law in place to ban flavors when the federal government never actually passed it. They only talked about it because they were so sure it was going to happen.
And that's the same thing happening up here. The federal government's actually said, oh, well, maybe we'll just make the provinces do it. So the provinces will turn around and do what the federal government wants and vice versa.
No, this wasn't even what the federal government really wanted. It's just what they thought they wanted. So they're proactively, they were proactive enough to try and create a law to succeed a law for the federal government so they'd have actually, law in place where they could be enforced before there was a law in the first place.
And
it was just I couldn't believe they did that. That just doesn't make any sense. But
I believe it. And I think that it wasn't one jumping the gun to be in place for when the federal passed. I think probably there was some backroom deal between the federal government and the states saying, hey, we're probably going to do this. You might want to do this. And then it's easier for a law to pass in the state than it is in the federal government. That's for sure. So, I mean, who knows? You don't know what goes on.
But it would have been in effect within a few weeks of Trump when he backed down and said T21 instead. Yeah. When he did that, it would have been in effect 2-3 months after that in effect. It would already been passed,
Yeah.
but in effect by then. Before, and the other one never even happened. I mean, I'm sorry, but if you're going to try and mimic a law that's federally passed, wait until it's actually passed before you even try. You know, you don't mimic the law before it's even passed, because that's not mimicking, that's creating a law. And that's, I don't know, that really confused me why they even did that. And New Hampshire's notoriously doesn't usually go that route. New Hampshire's usually a little bit against that kind of thing. They try to be a free thinking state.
Yeah,
And they
until
jumped on
someone
it.
waves $1 billion in their face, and that's probably your arch nemesis. Bloomberg is behind all that.
Is that possible that there was some money involved there? It is
Of
possible.
course, there's money. It's so the politics are so dirty now. I mean,
I do
that
know
even
that I do know until that meeting, by the way that jewel rep had been there, he'd been talking to them a lot because he had a lot of inside and was calling them by name and everything. So he'd been talking to them a lot. So when he turned white in the face, I fucked him over, and I was so happy about that. It was like a win. As soon as I saw him turn white, as pale as a ghost, it's like, good.
and you're
And then I
touching.
went
You
out.
just sorry.
You know, and then I went out and had spaghetti legs in the hallway. I did have one of the Republicans came out because it was Democrats pushing the bill. One of the Republicans out gave me a high five. I had no idea what for.
Well, yeah, because you
and
know
then,
what?
Then I went and sat on the bench in the hallway because my legs were. I was like, oh, I had spaghetti legs back. I'd never spoken like that before.
I mean,
Here comes
honestly,
the guy. Here comes the Democrat in charge of the bill coming out. Walks by me. I said hi to him. He gets almost in the hall, opened the door to go in his room. Turns around and goes, "Who do you work for?" Nobody. Oh, let me talk to you then. And that's the only reason. And I talked to him about why I'm in there, because I, like you, lost family to cancer. It's a horrible thing to see. And that's the harm reduction side of it. Explained a lot of it. And then he offered me a position on the board, but I live in Vermont, not New Hampshire, so I couldn't be on the board. But they did, at that point, find somebody in New Hampshire to be on the board for future discussions. That was a vapor. So it made a huge change, and it was all over just... honestly, my in was a random thing, having an M-Turk bottle. That's it. If it wasn't for that bottle, they probably would have had that law passed within a couple weeks.
and that's another thing up here. They pass these laws. They don't even give anyone any time to do anything. Like what happened with your omnibus bill.
Yeah.
I mean, they did the same thing up here. Oh yeah, nicotine. We're putting a cap at 20 milligrams. Oh, childproof. Everything has to be childproof. They knew goddamn well there was. How do you make an RTA or an RDA childproof? It's impossible. You know. So, I mean, they knew exactly what they're doing. They knew there was no way it could happen. So that way it was just another nail in the coffin.
How do you make a cigarette childproof?
Exactly. That's the thing. You know, if they were, look, honest to God, Tim, if they came out and said, okay, we're banning vaping, we're also banning tobacco, I'd be all for it. I wouldn't like it, but I'd be all for it.
Wouldn't like it, but against the pro-choice thing, but I would be more considerate of that theory than to try and say, oh, we're going to ban this, but we're going to let you have cigarettes on the shelf. What?
Yeah, because it was the same thing with like cartoon-ish labels on e-juice, okay? Oh, you can't have that. It attracts kids. Have you seen the fucking alcohol lately? You go into any liquor store in Canada, and half the alcohol containers have like all these like, you know, cartoon-ish.
I don't want to take it away because I actually like the cartoonish designs. But watch Poon Sauce reviews. Those, even he has to say sometimes it's going too far with his labels. But they're still cool to look at. Why can't we enjoy nostalgia?
We're adults. Why not?
But that's... Even as adults, we still sometimes watch cartoons. I mean, maybe they're a little more adult in nature, but we still watch cartoons, right?
I know, but that's the hypocrisy of it. If you're going to apply something, you better apply it right across the board. Not just on one thing, because that tells me that you're biased. You have a bias. Why do you have a bias? Are you protecting a revenue stream potentially? Of course they are. You know, honest to God. I mean, you know,
I found that though talking to politicians face to face, I have found, and even in his case, we thought it was all about the money. After talking to that guy in the hallway, it was the media. And another thing, that I can tell you right now that he told me, and I've heard from several, many, actually quite a few, most of the politicians I've talked to since, they don't want to look at any documentation because Jewel has their documentation, the UK has their documentation. They don't want to look at it. For one, they don't have the time for an individual bill that isn't really all that important to them, sadly. That's the truth of it. But they don't want to look at all that information. That's where your personal story means more to them. And even he told me afterwards, he goes, "Yeah, this makes more sense than all these things. They keep on trying to get me to look at UK documentations and stuff like that. The Jewel guy in there, he's constantly sending me all kinds of numbers and paperwork. Don't know how to make heads or tails or who to believe.
You
So
know what,
just
though?
going by what we see, and we saw the federal government doing it, we thought it was the right thing to do.
We have to always remember that these politicians are lawyers. They'll say or do whatever it takes to win their argument. Okay. When I had my discussion with the MP, she her she was just pro vaping. She said everything to me that she thought I wanted to hear. You know, that was exactly it.
Mhm.
And then she turned around. Her and her government turned around and destroyed the vaping industry.
Well,
Because when she was face to face with me, oh, then she's my friend and blah blah blah. Making sure she gets my
I
vote.
had that in the Vermont thing. I talked about that a second. But the guy in New Hampshire actually lived up to what he said, and he really did get someone on the council, on the board. So he really was convinced by that. He didn't wind up lying. What he said did happen. He's the one that stopped the bill from continuing that time. He's the one that decided not to go continue with that bill at that time. They came back with it later the next time the federal government was going. They came back with another version. But the New Hampshire one, Vermont one, I made a mistake of this lady asked me why I was there and stuff, and I told her, one of the senators, didn't know who was against and pro. Turns out she was the lead on the bill against us. Guess what? She forbid me from talking at most of the meetings. So,
Look,
because one of the senators across the way, well, he seems to be knowledgeable. Should we have him talk? And she's like, she shook her head no at the table, would not let me speak, but wouldn't say it because all the notes were being taken. Yeah, that was interesting. That one was like you were saying, a shady ass per se. Don't like it.
No, see, like I probably would have been dragged out because I'd be standing up there. You're gonna hear what I have to say.
Oh, the other guy did afterwards. He actually, he took my email and we corresponded back and forth. Me and a couple of the others that wanted to know what I had to say. That she wouldn't let me speak in a public meeting, but he did, and he talked to me in a hallway afterwards. Plus, that was the same day that I told you about the minority girls that were there for television.
Yeah.
That was that same day. She had them coming in, and they would never got a chance to speak there because she lets them speak. I'm allowed to speak and ask questions and make statements. Guess what? She didn't want that, so that was kiboshed. That would have helped us a lot too. That would have looked really bad in the media.
I don't know. It just blows my mind that this is allowed to happen.
I can't believe they would do that. They transported them from all the way the other corner of the state, brought them over here for that meeting. From the other corner of the state. And they're talking like black girls with like turbans on their head. I have no idea what it was minority was. It was like 2-3 different minorities in one, the two girls were. They weren't even from a public school. They were from a private school. So it's like.
And what was the end game for them to bring them there?
They were gonna be on TV to talk against their thoughts on vaping.
Against vaping or pro vaping?
Against vaping.
Okay. So that's why they put in all.
That's why they were there. They had the camera crew set up in there and everything to do the interview right in the room. Had everything set up, and then she realized I wasn't leaving that day, and she asked them to go out in the hall and do the interview, but they couldn't do it live and the hearing like they'd planned. And I never saw it aired anywhere, so I'm not even sure they ever aired it. I was watching for it, but I never saw it aired.
So, for sure, you're on someone's shit list.
Oh, I know I'm on her shit list. Yeah, guaranteed. I never got a response from her. Big surprise, right? But that one guy that didn't like the fact she shut me off, he actually got me on the next. After the pandemic, they shut it down, so it was only phone, through the phone conference thing. And I was allowed on the phone conference hearings the next time it came through. But that was because of him. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have gotten on there. I don't think he liked her. I don't think they got along. Or he didn't like the way she treated me, one or the other. But, it's just it's a numbers game. And some of it is the fact that they just don't want to have to learn something new that they don't care about. Honestly, it's not important to them if they don't smoke. They don't smoke, they don't vape, they don't care. So it comes down to you explaining why. Not you proving why, but you explaining why it matters to you. That has more power because of that fact. At least at state level and below. Federal level, well, that's another story. And there's going to be those that are bought or know that the revenue is going to dry up if it goes a certain way. Those in there you'll never touch. The Cuomos, they don't care anything about the bottom line. They don't give a shit if someone dies. They don't even mind saying it on TV. We don't care if it's going to kill people. Just so what? Who cares? Yeah. And that said, I think we should start wrapping this up. Went a little long. Thank you guys for those who hung in there.
Yeah,
I
thanks.
know it got very advocacy oriented. Supposed to be a game night stream, but honestly, lately, the game is not taking the aggravation out of us, and I'm seeing it more and more. It's not doing it. It did for a while when things were quieter, but now we're seeing a push again. And like Mallory said, you watch Pave go up there and start these things. You watch all the anti-ants go at us, and it's just... And like you said, that same circle. Giving into the nicotine was a mistake. I warned about it. It happened, and we can't change it. But unfortunately, if we had just sat back and only said, we're only looking at harm reduction, it's in both. It's the less harmful of the two. And focused only on that and not saying anything else about nicotine. Being safe or unsafe doesn't matter. Just worked on the fact it's harm reduction over the alternative. And only focused on that. That wouldn't have went so badly. It would have just kept on circling, and they would have kept circling. All they need us to do, though, is give in the right way that they're looking for us to give in and follow into their trap. Yeah. And we're screwed. So let's not do that with any of the others. Because, even though they've been proven long, we could see that happen with wet lung. We could see that happen with, popcorn lung. If you say the wrong thing, it no longer becomes about whether or not vape has done it. It's because it can happen. Because it can happen with the diacetyl. If we keep following into it, simply say, not at the levels that we're at on these. Right. And focus just on that fact. Don't dive into any deeper facts, because the simpler you keep your answer, the more the politicians can understand. Because honestly, some of them are kind of, I don't want to call them dumb, but I do. Some of them are a little simple-minded when it comes to things they don't care about. They want the simple answer. The more simple you can keep it, the better.
Paul, have you ever spoken with your local MP?
No.
I think Paul's laid back and kind of would have those spaghetti legs too. Trust me, it was hard for me that first time, but I just couldn't watch it anymore. It was driving me crazy.
Yeah.
It's hard. You have to get that motivation to push you forward, and it's not an easy thing to do. As much as I talk here, and I've gotten used to it, so I can. Do you realize before I started talking for advocacy, other than the vape fam, I never talked in public to anyone, ever.
Yeah.
And before vape fam, I talked to maybe 5 people on a weekly basis total, and 3 of them lived in my house. That was my average day. So it's like, I've changed my life a lot because of this, and I feel better for it. It's not an easy thing to do, though. Not everybody can do it, and I'm surprised I was able to do it.
Oh, I'm worse than you. But Paul, maybe it's time to go speak with your local MP.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, maybe.
And all your friends that vape, bring them along.
Yeah.
Okay, you're heading over there when, Dave? You said all. You said all.
Yeah. Pointless for me to go to his, I'll go to mine. Okay. But
so
she doesn't.
So the next gathering is at Paul's house, and we're all going to go over to his MPs.
Yeah.
There's going to be 700 million of us in the end sitting right outside his MPs. They ought to listen then, huh?
Yeah.
Maybe that gets to the local protest that we mentioned a few times.
As I was
Yeah.
talking about, we were talking about that last gathering, advocacy gathering, and like I said, that's going to be a quarterly thing as best I can do it. But that having like smaller gatherings so people don't have to travel so far, but have them all on the same day, almost like that Hands Across America, where it will get media coverage if you get enough of them going. If you get enough decent size, maybe 100, 150 people across the United States and Canada at the same time, it's going to get noticed. And it'd be good for Canada to do the same thing at the same time, same reason. If it's cross country lines as well, or even get other countries as well, that actually benefits us in a great deal, because that's what gets the media. That kind of, we need that, like you said, that clickbait like thing. We need to get that clickbait. And that's something, that's a way to protest. It'll get us in the news, and they're going to tell our story even if they don't want to, because the gag order doesn't apply to protests and why people are gathering. So that might be a really good route, but it's a lot of planning, a lot of work. But we need to start working on it soon, because it needs to happen.
Soon, yeah, for sure. Because all these laws, within a year from now, if we're not careful, vaping will be 100% illegal. I guarantee you.
Yeah, Mallory, I'm pretty sure we all are. I've talked about this a few times, and considering this isn't, although it is my most passionate right of choice to fight for, is vaping. It's not the only one. Even there's some that I have helped fight for and talked to the politicians for now and everything that I don't even agree with, but it still should be a person's right to choose. That's it. So I know I'm probably on a watch list. I went from being under a rock, really steadfast rock, to now I'm probably on a watch list, or 15, 20. Yeah. So.
It's a badge of honor.
Yeah, I kind of miss the rock some days, I'll be honest. I want to crawl back under Paul's rock with him. Let me just make some room in there. No, it's important, though. Stand up for what you believe in. That's what matters.
Yeah.
That said, hey, so Canadian Vapor, I see you in almost all the chats. The only one I see more of is Dave, honestly.
Yeah.
So, do you involved in any shows? Have you been to any other shows?
No.
Okay.
No. No, I usually just watch them.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to have you on. Thank you for coming on tonight.
Yeah, it was nice.
I know it's a quiet night. There's not a lot of people on, so there's your advantage. You did it in a safe place tonight. There's not that many people, and everybody here is kind.
Yeah.
But thank you for coming on, and
Thank you. Good.
If you want to stay more anonymous, there's always contacts, so you can contact them. I mean, the hardest one of them would be a phone call. Phone call, they still don't really know who you are, but yeah. But there is a way you can do it where you don't have to quite step out in the light. I get it. I totally get it. It took me a long time I just felt like a hypocrite because I kept asking everybody. But I also thought the employees at my vape shop should stand up, You'd think they have more at stake. And when they were kind of hesitant, I was like, I'll go too. And guess what? Most of them went because I said that. It's like, I'll go with you. And the second I did that, they got off that line and went too. And I felt less of a hypocrite. Plus, I actually got other people to go as well. So it worked out. Dave, you've been on a show or two here lately.
Yep.
Here.
And I'll keep coming.
Yep.
I'll keep coming as long as you'll have me.
Yep.
And maybe on a mixing show one day.
I'll be on tomorrow morning, I believe, if Tam and as far as I know, I'm supposed to be on Tam Vapes and Frank, Daytime Frank tomorrow morning, and we're going to go over. I think tomorrow's Capella, right? Tomorrow's Capella.
Yeah, it's Capella flavors, I believe.
The new Capellas, yeah.
We're doing Easter candy.
Yeah. Oh, what?
I thought it was Easter candy.
Oh, it might be Easter candy. I can't remember which one won. Did Easter? No, Reese's. Didn't Reese's win?
I think so.
I think Reese's won.
It.
I can't remember, but whatever. I'll be on there tomorrow. We'll deal with whatever I got to deal with mixing in the morning, and I'll see what I can do about wrangling up mixers helping mixers tomorrow night. See if I can get that going. because I don't know, mixing to me is like my therapy lately. It's the thing that's keeping my mind off of going nuts over the stupid legislation we got going on. That omnibus bill has thrown me for a loop. It's like when you think back and you can come up with no way that was ever going to be even a hope or prayer, because you know that they're worried about their paychecks. They're not worried about looking at thousands of emails. They didn't get looked at until afterwards in 3
Nothing
days.
surprises me anymore. I mean, I've just seen too much to ever be surprised by what governments do. You know, they're so shadowy. It's only when you drag them kicking and screaming into the light like a vampire do they change their ways.
And you know who we are also looking over when we looked at that? We look over who put that on the bill. You know, that hasn't even been talked about enough. It's only been briefly discussed. That person should be like on our blacklist to make sure we follow that person and shut them every time. I don't remember. It got briefly mentioned so much, I don't even remember who it was. That's why I'm saying I can't even remember, and I try. And I can remember it briefly being, I think Danielle mentioned who it was on the TBN. And that's the only time I've heard the name. And that's something we should really focus on. Whoever did that, that's the dangerous part. And if you live in that guy's state, or girls, women's, whatever, whoever it was, you live in that person's state, you should be watching. You need to keep like a hawk eye out. And even if you're already down in the dumps, don't trust them not to go further. Because obviously, if they're willing to push something like that,
they're going to go all the way. And I mean, I know in this country, a lot of people think that, oh, you know, it's a democracy, this and that. The shit that goes on here, you would not believe. You would not believe. I've seen some crazy shit.
And the more down the advocacy hole you go, the more you realize things are not okay.
Look, 35 years ago, I was in the military. And the shit I saw going on there, that's why I'm not surprised by whatever the government does. Doesn't surprise me in the slightest.
Yeah, that is Yemeth Kent. That's what it was. I thought it was Kent, but I was thinking Kent was the first name. He gets money from tobacco growers. That's right. I did hear that. That's what Danielle said. Was about that. See, now that's the politicians we need to make sure that we put on lists that don't forget who they are. Not just for that, to watch what they're doing. Because maybe we would have had a little more insight to this if we'd been watching him closer. Watching that person closer.
That gets to what I was saying, though. Not to prolong the show. I know everyone wants to go, but that gets to what I'm saying. Is you have to look at all these people very closely, and you have to drag them into the light. Every shitty thing they're doing, you have to expose it.
We need to put them on a list, the ones that we know do things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad enough when you're pushing a bill. But like the one in New Hampshire, it could have been pushed because they thought they were doing the right thing. He did do it because he thought he was doing the right thing. He backed off when he realized he wasn't. So that gave me, I believe he was doing it for the right reasons. This guy put it in an omnibus bill knowing it had to pass and managed to get it pushed. That's the shady type of person we got to watch because they'll do anything they can. But yeah, sorry about that, guys. I know I made it a little longer, but that is important. We need to start making this list. Maybe we can.
And that's a conversation you have to have with all the big boys.
Yep, that's something I'll bring up
with Daniel Jones,
Addie
Logan
Tooney.
Exhales, Matt Cully, Addie. Addie's plugged into everybody. You know, that's a conversation you have to have with the big boys.
That is what good one to bring up. That is a good idea.
Back to my selfishness. Hopefully, you make a difference, so it benefits me.
It benefits us all. Let's be honest. That's just it. We're all being a little selfish with caring about our own beliefs, but that's the way it should be. That's what democracy is supposed to be like. Yeah. Democracy means for the people. I think our governments have forgotten that. So.
Yeah. Your President Eisenhower said that. How long ago? There you go.
A long time ago. Yeah.
And he said it. He said it. Back then it was the what do they call it? The military. I forget what they call it, but it was basically because the military industrial complex had too much power. Well, now we have media that has too much power. As
media blew up, so did that. And the control. I mean, look at our kids. They have control of us. what kid? Even I'm bad about it, but I'm doing it more trying to keep up with VapeFam and responding. So at least I'm contacting real people. I'm not sitting there. I've seen so many. Anybody under the age of 25, they're glued like this watching videos, and some of those videos are like, you became 2% dumber for watching that video. I'm sorry, but you did. But yeah, so Kentucky Bill lives in that area, so we'll get him on it too. The chair. So
Yeah.
all right, you guys have a great night. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles by Adam Pilarczyk on the way out. Sorry, I had to do it as game night, and I accidentally. It's one of my favorite songs, but I'm to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's a great tune.
And I'm continuing with the Abracadabra for mixing because that's like kind of what we're doing. We're kind of trying to create something. It fits. There's a couple songs where he has cover songs you like, but I don't know. That one just plus it's catchy, man. If you're an art, and if you look at ours, it's a lot of us near the same decade and within that same realm. So a lot of us like that same music. So yeah, same with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I mean, most of us grew up to that. Yeah. So you guys have a great night. Thank you so much for being here.
Take care, Paul.
Hopefully see some of you tomorrow.
Have a good one.
Thank you, Mallory. Thank you, Addie, for all that you both do. They do a lot, and everyone else who does a lot for the community. Thank you very much. Love you all. Fresh03, love you, brother. Hope you're still doing well. He did mess with me during the show, so that just wanted to let him know in case he's still watching somehow. But good night, everybody. And here you go. And the Taj Mahal, if you guys didn't know this picture, I'm doing a different location each time for our game night streams. And I want to do Taj Mahal because that's actually so beautiful. It really is. Good night, everybody.
Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, heroes